Hey, hey, good Sunday evening. What do you say, everybody? Brian, what's happening, man? Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Very excited to have you and do this this show and tell. Been a big fan of your collection for very, very, very many years. So very glad that you agreed to do this. And so quickly too. You didn't even hesitate. You're like, oh yeah, I'd love to do it. Like what?
Because like when Bill started his comic art fans, I'd been doing the best of before, and it was only limited to 5, and I was hand counting everything, so I was always wanting to like help support Bill. So I'm always, and then when the best of now that's all automated, I'm still pimping it because Bill's usually busy with something else and he forgets about it. And I'm always telling people, hey, put everything in before the end of the year or you can't enter. So it's always fun to see what people put in the best of.
You do a great job, I must say. By the way, I should give you credit for that, because you can tell us for how many years it's been happening, but it feels like it's been forever since, for me, like when I think about the best of, I'm like, okay, it's almost time for Brian to start pounding out the word about the best of every, and it's like, I just think I so associate it with you, that I feel like it's your thing, because you've made such a great effort.
Bill, well, there's a bunch of other people that were doing it before the best of, and it was limited to 5. And I was the one that did the hand counting. Then the first 3 years, it was still hand counting, and then he finally automated it, which I love. And now we're up to, I think we had last year we had 1,400 entries. So, you figure 5, so it's around 300 people. It could be more, could be less.
Oh, I see. 1,400 total pieces submitted.
Yes.
Okay.
And so people could do 5, could do 1. So it's at least 300 people that have been part of it, I think.
Okay. Oh no, that's great. Yeah, you know what? It doesn't. At first, I was going to freak out because I was like, 1,400 people participated. What? That's crazy. But yeah, that makes more sense when you look at the online social media sphere, and you try to kind of figure out how many of us in the hobby, are actively social. And it's not easy to see, numbers from, let's say, places like platforms like Facebook or Instagram. But on YouTube, you can kind of see that, okay, well, there's not that many original art related channels anyways. So you go on the channels and you see how much views the videos get. And it kind of gives you an idea roughly of how many people kind of want to be out there, how many people are watching. So it's not really all that surprising that it's around 300 that would participate in a not a contest, but whatever you want to call it.
This is a contest. It's an excuse to see pieces that I missed that probably people have posted earlier, because there's so much stuff being posted, and there's always something that is up there and I'd never seen.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I've always told people, like, don't get A from Oz. What's happening in Australia, David? That's why I've always kind of said, like, just participate. It's all for the fun of it. And I get the pros, and there's pros and cons to everything. And obviously, the cons are that it does end up to a lot of people feeling like a contest, because they know that in most cases, the most expensive and most vintage art usually gets the most votes, blah, blah, blah. But, in the end, it's kind of like, don't think of it that way. Don't think of it as there's winners and losers. Just think of it as because for me, I don't even, honestly, to be completely 100% truthful, I don't even care about who wins and who does and who gets the most votes. My interest is in seeing the nominees, I guess you would say. So let me see what everybody has put in there, right? And like you said, it's just a way to sort of pile in a whole bunch of stuff that you otherwise may have missed throughout the year. And you get to see it all in, within a few hours. If you're like me, it takes hours to go through everything. but one day, a few hours, or you break it up over, a week or two, whatever, however you want to do it. But it's fun. And if you just think of it that way, rather than as a competition or contest, like I always say, there are no prizes. Like there's no cash prize at the end, right? That doesn't matter. It should just be about sort of the participation and looking at the art that you may have missed, like you said, So, Alberto, what are you saying? Has Ruben wearing a Rolling Stone shirt just for Brian? Not just for Brian. I grew up. That was my favorite band growing up. That's my all-time favorite rock band. So that's and I thought, what better perfect T-shirt to wear for tonight? Because I know Brian's a big Stones fan. So yeah, so that's it. So hello to everybody. I didn't get to tell you guys last week because I didn't find out until the middle of the week that Brian. So I'm telling you all now, Brian has a hard stop time. So we are going to be out of here no later than 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern. All right. And I got a ton of art to show, just like Khalil's show and tell 2 weeks ago. I got even more art than I did for Khalil. So we're going to get into this right away. I'm just going to do my promo right now real quick. And it is fun to participate, isn't it? For sure. Make it the bad. Just mad that the Grumman never makes it. That's true. It never does, Alberto. It never does. But I don't care about that. I really don't. And Jason Ladwig, what's up? Hello to everybody. I can't call you out by name, of course, individually as usual, because we got to save time here. But happy to have you all as well.
So answering the question about who's in the background.
Oh yeah. Oh, who's the lady there, Brian? What's going on there?
Well, so everybody knows Dave Mandel, and so he's gotten me into other collecting, which is just as expensive. I got into prop collecting.
Tom mentioned that. Yeah, Tom, number one model.
He mentioned that is, I was big Doctor Who. I'm a big Doctor Who fan from the '80s, and so one of the companions was Leela. And for my 50th, I purchased her second costume directly from the actress, and so that's the mannequin is wearing that outfit. And then I have one of Tom Baker's scarves that was recreated for their exhibition tour done about 6 years ago. So that's who it is. And in the back.
So, sorry. Who's the actress again?
Louise Jameson.
Louise Jameson. Okay.
She played one called Leela. Basically, she would go around not screaming, but let's kill him in this very scantily clad leather outfit.
Okay.
And in fact, a few weeks ago, I ended up bringing the outfit down to Los Angeles, and there was a big convention, and she was there, so I got a nice photo with her, and then brought it to her panel, and she was thrilled to talk about it, and the whole crowd. So that was a lot of fun. Anyways, how
old is she now?
She's, I think, in her 70s right now, 75. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're still, they've gone and done these older actors now. There's a thing called Big Finish, and they do audio stories. So a lot of the older actors are still playing their parts, and they just have to do audio recordings.
Okay. Interesting. Alberto's wanting you to move the camera and show the Snoopy wall. Look at that. Crazy Snoopy. Wow.
Every year's Peanuts is set up at San Diego, and they usually have a plush, so I pick it up. Big Peanuts fan. I've been up to the Peanuts Museum up in Santa Rosa, where Schultz used to live.
Okay. I know you're a big Peanuts fan, so.
Oh, yeah. Big Peanuts.
Yeah.
No yet, but I'm getting there.
Shockingly, everybody, you will not be as much art as I've shown. Peanuts did not make the cut, but use the link down below if you want in the description, and you can see you can go directly to Brian's gallery and see the Peanuts art there, large size. So real quick promo just for Carl from Carl's collection. He did his regular episode of Bagged and Boarded this week, so I just popped in the link to that. And last but certainly not least this week, we've got here. I'm gonna pop this in instead of putting it on the screen. For Nicky B, here we go. Let's show his face again. Let everybody know what he looks like. Catch out the EXP every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. It's a combination sales show / a talk show, and a lot of fun. And you can pick up some very affordable art at times, and sometimes higher end art. A lot of the people that are here in my chat are usually there as well. So it's a lot of fun. Check that out, please. And just to go, I don't have the link to his actual EXP show because it hasn't been scheduled yet for this Friday, but I will give you the general link to the channel. So there it is in the chat right there for you. All right. Okay. All right, everyone. So 8:13, this is going pretty good. What we're going to do now is we are going to have Brian get a little bit into his background like we always do on Show and Tell. And so Brian, if you could just start when and where you were when you first sort of caught wind of what original art was and how it led to you maybe picking that first piece and then starting to collect it.
Oh, the funny thing was, it wasn't me. Back in 1986 at Big Guys Comics in Mountain View, California, my father had gone in and bought a Hulk Annual number 7, penciled by John Byrne and inked by Bob Layton, and he bought it for me as a gift. He never read comics. He didn't know anything about comic art. And I was like, duh, I can buy comic art. I had moved out here in 79 from Michigan, so all the comic books I had when I was growing up, I had to get rid of because I had limited space driving across the country. And then I just started getting into comics, but WonderCon didn't start up until I think it was 87 or 88 in Oakland. And I didn't really go to any comic local stores. I didn't have any friends that really into comic books. It was just me. So I really didn't know anything. So he bought me a page. Oh, this was great. And then when I went to my first WonderCon, I bought my page from the Donnellys. And it was Uncanny X-Men 160 by Brent Anderson. And I still have that one.
Oh, wow. Cool.
What my father got me, I had it for years, and then somebody was looking to put the book together, and he ended up offering me an Byrne Uncanny X-Men page from 112.
Wow.
Give him the page plus a little money, but I came out on the right end because it was Phoenix and Cyclops fighting Magneto. It was a really great page. At the time, I hadn't been looking to get a Byrne page because they were too expensive, and then it'd give me ulcers trying to get it and not being able to. So I got it, and I more wanted it to be able to trade for something that I really liked. I love Byrne, but there's other stuff I'd much prefer. Right. And I went to right after that, I went to my first, went to San Diego that year, and a friend of mine who's a big Cockrum Byrne X-Men collector, I showed it to him and look and see, if he's got anything to trade. Oh no, but he wants to pay. He wants to buy it from me. And I said, no, I really want to trade. And I ended up going over to, Anthony's booth. And for years, I've been wanting a page from X-Men 8. Kirby. Kirby and
that's Eunice. Is that Eunice the Untouchable issue?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I'd been wanting this page, but he wouldn't break up the book until he sold the splash. Oh. Well, he told me he sold the splash. I went back over to the collector. I said, "You still got the cash?" He goes, "Yep." And so we did the deal then. I bought an X-Men 8, and then I bought an X-Men 16, which is Kirby layouts, and it had the X-Men fighting the Sentinels. And I still had both of those pages. I even got Stan to sign my X-Men 8, and it's hanging up on my wall right above my computer right now.
Oh, very cool. Hey, real quick, Peter's just curious. What was your first WonderCon? What year was it?
Oh, whatever the first year WonderCon was, 87, 88.
It was the actual first one that they had done?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then they moved it to San Francisco. I liked Oakland was great, but it was also a little sketchy as well, and there wasn't much stuff to do around there. I went to San Francisco, and it was great because they had the Cartoon Art Museum about a half dozen blocks away, and then they'd have exhibits. Like one year they had the Amazing Spider-Man when the first movie came out, and they had like stuff from Berkey, and then a complete Spider-Man 26 by Ditko. So that was a great place. And then when I went to Los Angeles, I went a couple years, but it wasn't the same as up here in the Bay Area. And we really haven't had much of a big, we had Big Wow, which I worked for, but nothing's really replaced Big Wow once it left.
Right. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Sean Clancy, our friend Sean, just said, according to my records, Brian bought a page from Teen Titans Spotlight 19, page 1 for me 20 years ago. He's looking through his records.
I still have it too.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
I think I have a couple pages from that, but yeah, I remember I have the page 1.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Sean, you're just kind of odd though. Like, why are you filing through your old records from 20 years ago while we're watching this? That's pretty funny, man. But I love that. I love stuff like that. I sometimes go through my old records as well, and I find like, oh my God, look at this from 20 years ago. Oh my God, I forgot I had this page. Look who bought it for me. You know, it's fun, right? But why you're doing it now during the live show? That's an interesting question, Sean. But that's fun. It's a fun bit of info to post for us. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Too corporate now, says Marcus. What's too corporate? The what? Well, yeah. What's too corporate? Oh, hold on.
There's still a few local comic book shows that Steve Wyatt puts on in the Bay Area, but there's nothing big.
Steve Wyatt's still doing his little smaller shows?
Yeah, he just did one the other weekend.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. And Sean says, I happen to have the records in front of me. Just a coincidence. Why do you have those records in front of you while we're watching this? You're watching the show, though. So funny. Hey, what's up, Rickster? I find Rolling Stones when I go through my old records. Really? Nice one. I like that. Double entendre, as they say. The conventions Marcus is referring to. Okay. Too corporate now. He says the conventions have become too corporate now.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, they're so huge, right? I think that's what makes it so. It's got that corporate feel to it, you know.
But as I said, OEX I've gone the last few years, and that I've enjoyed. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, man. Well, yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing how you got your start. That's really fun, and especially with your the fact that it was your dad that got you started. That's especially that it was your dad. And your dad was not a comic guy and knew nothing about it. Like, that's crazy for him to go into this shop and like, oh, I won't buy you I'm here to buy my son something, but I'm not going to buy him an actual comic book. I'll buy him this thing I've probably never seen before, which is black and white.
And he had great taste. He did years later ask for a page from Wonder Woman where she was changed to the kind of was the 70s Emma Peel. And so he did ask for original art at one point.
Okay.
And I do show him stuff I figure he'll want. I'll go over and show if I've acquired it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, like I said, great story. I love that. We've done so many of these show and tells, and oftentimes the collectors have mentioned, that, my dad was like 10 years old, and my dad, he took me, drove me 3 hours to the San Diego Con, and like Cesar Alvarez. Do you know Cesar Alvarez?
No, I know the name. I don't think.
Okay, you're not friends though. Okay, so anyways, my dad used to drive me, and I was like, wow, your dad's a kid. Your dad, because I had a horrible experience I had one of those dads who he was a European immigrant. For him, it was like comics. He didn't know anything about it, and he thought, what? He was one of those who just heard, well, comics are for little children. Like, and I was 12 years old. He's like, what are you doing reading comics? That's for kids, you know? And so he was definitely not on board with me and comics. And so every time I do a show and tell and the collectors tell me these stories of great, you know, great experiences with their dads and comics, it's like, it makes me like pine for that. I wish I had that, you know?
And just a second, set the record straight. Everybody always gets confused. The Dale Withers Peck in the comic art fans is my mother's collection, not my father's. She was big into Submariner, right. And I've left her gallery up, even though she passed away last year. But she was big on it, and in fact, she came to WonderCon, Big Wow Comic Art a few times. So you know, she was big into it, and so both parents appreciated it. One was more of a collector, and one wasn't.
Yeah. I will say that because you mentioned it in the first few years, because I remember your mom even being a part of the Comic Art Yahoo group, correct?
Yes. And she was part of the Facebook original collectors art group as well. Right.
Not
active, but she was part of it.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm saying it only because the Yahoo group came even before Facebook even existed, right? So, so I remember that, and I will admit that in those first, I don't know, for the first few years, I just assumed it was your dad because of the name Dale, right? And I know that Dale is a what do you call it? Like what's that word? The terminology for you, the names that you can use for men and women whatever. Anyways, it's one of those names that you could use for both the female and male. But it was still so much more commonly used for males. So that's your instinct, right? Your instinct, you just kind of, okay, oh, look at that. Oh, that's cool. You know, Brian's dad's here, you know, that's fun. And eventually because of Facebook, and, you know, being connected with you that way, I ultimately realized, oh shit, that's his mom. Wow. So there's like, not only is it his mom, but it's so cool that she also kind of collects art, and there's not many females in the hobby. So for it to be a female and the mom of a guy who already himself is a collector, and like double cool, right? So I always thought that was awesome, you know. And through your Facebook, you know, over the many years, however many years I've been following your stuff that comes in through my feed. You know, I also learned to see how what an amazingly close, tight relationship you had with your mom. And I always thought that was great because I had that with my mom only when I was a little kid. Then as an adult, you know, certain things happen, things change, whatever. And in adulthood, we pretty much just had a friendly but contentious relationship, you know? And so whenever I would see you and her and interacting and posting about your mom and this, I always kind of, you know, it just reminded me how I wish things could, you know, be that way with my mom again, you know? So, yeah. So my condolences again, on her passing a year ago, you know, that's,
anyway, so yeah,
that's sad, but okay. You ready to go and get into the artwork, my friend?
Surely.
All right. Okay, everybody. So we're going to jump right into the art here. Oh, and Peter also gives his condolences about your mom. And Ruben Pines for MySpace. The good old days of MySpace. I never used it, TJ. I never used it. Dale Arden, exactly. I not a real person, but yes, that's I think of her too. Okay, so let me cue up the images, everyone. And a lot of art to show tonight, everybody. So let's try to get through this. All right. Speaking of your mom, in honor of your mom and the anniversary of her passing, I just felt I had to start off tonight's show and tell, Brian, with a couple of pieces from her collection. Here we go. Check this out.
Yeah, that first one, she saw some of the stuff Mike DeCarlo did for me for some Hitchcock films. And she commissioned that. And the Mingus, that was a gift I gave her. I can't remember where I came across it, but she was a huge jazz fan.
Yeah.
and loved Charles Mingus.
Oh.
So I got that, and she had it framed in her living room.
Oh, that's very lovely. And sorry, I wanted. I'm a stickler for detail, so I really wanted to get the year of the piece that when it was done. But then I realized I also prefer to that my guests don't know what pieces I've selected. So I figured if I ask you what year it was done, then you're gonna know. Okay, I'm gonna be showing that piece. So I figured whatever. I'll just put question marks.
Yeah.
But do you know offhand what year it was done?
So I said no, not without looking. It's basically I'd have to look in her gallery because I left it up. But then when she passed away, I picked a few of her pieces that I liked, and then the rest of them I did sell because some of them weren't my taste. But that one I had to. It was taken from a photo that she did when she was, I think, 3 or 4. And so, but 2017 sounds about right.
Okay.
And I know the Mingus was later, and probably sometime during the pandemic.
Okay. And I apologize to Charles Mingus for somehow dropping out the S at the end of his name. That was weird. It was there, guys. It was there. And only now am I realizing with your comments that suddenly it's not there. So I don't know what the heck happened, but I apologize. You see, you guys know I'm often working through the night just to get these shows done. So sometimes I'm half asleep and I don't realize what's going on. So, all right. Let us move on to the next piece. You're laughing at me, Tom? Come on, man. Mingu the Conqueror. Alberto, hey, let me see you work throughout the night just to do these damn shows that I don't get paid for. All right. Okay, half asleep half the time. Anyways, thank you, Tom. Yes, I know it should be okay. I mean, but the problem, Tom, is that lately I've been making more and more of these damn mistakes. That's the thing. But I know that it's related to how late I've been staying up really late to do these damn shows. That's why. So that's the common denominator. I know that I'm going way too late into the night, and I'm not. Yeah, my eyes are blurry. So, anyways, Pingu the Penguin. Yeah, right. All right. You're getting your money's worth from this show already, right, Sean? Hey, the more you guys can laugh at me, I know you get your money's worth. All right, let's go to the second piece tonight, everyone, and let's see what we got here. Brian, tell us a little bit about this one.
Oh yeah, so can't remember exactly when the guy that bought, I think, owned like 4 of the issues, decided to sell them, or no, I think he had all 6, and he ended up selling 4 through Mike Berkey. And I love this series, this arc, and I tried to get the page where I think it's right before or after this, where he's eating the spiders, and that was already sold. So I went ahead and I got this one. I still love this one as much. And then I also got a second page from one of the other books in the story arc, and it was just a minor page. It had a woman standing on the corner, I guess, waiting for a taxi in the pouring rain, and then she disappears, and all you hear is you see a thing as yum, and vermin had grabbed her. And it was just, I love that page just for the inking, but it was also cheaper. I wanted to get a second one, but this is the one I really wanted. Well, my second choice, but I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it too. I mean, it's, for me, it was such a seminal story that I feel like it's one of those stories where, like, even when you don't have Spidey on the page, and let's face it, it really is more of a Kraven's story than a Spidey story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and yeah. I'm not sure what happened to the page where he was eating spiders, but I'd love to get that one.
Yeah,
someday.
Yeah, well, you never know. You know how it is, Brian, in this hobby. You think somebody, it disappears, and then a lot of this stuff comes around again. We get a maybe second chance,
Oh yeah, I've had enough of those. You just have to be patient.
Yeah, that's it. So Okay, fantastic. Let us go on to the next piece, folks. And this is a fun piece. I really caught my eye, and I love this artist, and I love the three characters, and thought it'd be fun to show. So check this one out. The AXA Ghita Red Sonja Commission by Enrique Badia Romero from 2013.
So I don't know if anybody's ever read his AXA series. It was published in Britain in the late 70s, early 80s. And unfortunately, I saw it in a book. They reprinted it, but the strips were tiny. But I got hooked on it. And when I ended up finding out he was selling his strips years ago, I'd buy a bunch and then I'd commission him to do different pieces. And this was one of the commissions that I had. You know, I loved AXA and Red Sonja, and then Frank Thorne's Ghita. I've got a number of pieces by him, and it turned out great. The guy was, I think he did this in he was 83 or 84, and his inking didn't miss a beat. And then he passed away about a year ago, I think.
Yeah, that's right. I believe so. February maybe of the last year, I think.
Yeah, it could have been. But yeah, his inks, I mean, he did a couple of commissions. He did a commission where he did 5 different strips. And that was a unique commission for me because I've never done anything like that.
Yeah, it's really, really fun, Brian. And out of curiosity, did you have him do this piece in the on a paper that's in the basic same form and shape as a newspaper strip? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the only problem with his stuff, his old AXA stuff, is he was a heavy smoker. And you'd get the packages and you'd just smell the smoke.
Oh, God.
But I'd leave them out for a while, and then they weren't so bad. But yeah, you could tell he was a heavy smoker. And the cool thing is, when I did that commission, and then I did the complicated 5-strip one, he knew very little English, and I know 6 words of Spanish. But we were still able to communicate, which was nice.
So even not speaking much English, he wasn't using a family member or friend to do the communicating with the collector?
I'm not sure. Sometimes he'd send me just in Spanish, and then I get translated, or it kind of went back and forth. But I bought pieces and I got commissions for him probably over a 6 or 7 year period.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, that's it. And for a while, quite a lot of collectors were commissioning him, to do stuff, and he was really, really busy within our hobby.
And I agree with Alberto. A lot of Spanish artists do some of the best women.
Of course, he is a Spaniard, so he's a little bit. The accent, and that accent is definitely. Yeah. And by the way, Brian, just FYI, I really commiserate with you about the smoking thing, because I don't know if he is anymore, to be honest. I really don't know. I have my doubts, but Tom Grummett certainly was a lifelong. It seemed like it was. I don't know.
I never got the smell out of any of the packages that he sent me.
Okay.
But then also these AXA pieces were from the 1970s and 80s, and probably just sat around his house for decades. And that's only, Yeah,
no, for sure. Me too. I mean, when I was, years ago buying stuff from Tom directly, and then, it was pages he had for decades in his closet or whatever. And as a smoker, well, the house is constantly filled with smoke for decades. So that's it, But, so I get that. It's not pleasant, Hey, what's up, Tom Katzalowski? What's going on in Chicago? Oh, hey, guys. Just real quick, let me do a quick segue away from tonight's show and tell. Away from the show and tell of Brian's collection. Let me see if I did not. Oh, yeah. Guys, you guys know we often have talked about presentation. We're not going to get into it. You know what I feel about presentation. Let me just show you Tom Katzalowski's recent framing piece of a Mike Perkins page that he had picked up. Let me just show you this. Look how beautiful and classy it looks. How non-childlike it looks. Check this out. Look at that. you know, you got the black undermat, and the inside of the black undermat is like you got a thin white line, right? So it goes white, black, and then white on the major, top mat again with a black frame. That's nice, guys. Look at that. That's nice. That's the way. That's the way. Simple and understated. That's the way you should do your artwork.
When I frame mine, I've pretty much got it where I have the top mat is like a gray.
Yeah, you're using a gray, which is fine because that's in between black and white.
The core is black, but then I have a white one inside and the core is black, so kind of like a double black line. I like the gray. It lets the ink pieces tend to pop out, but each his own.
Yeah.
I know Steve Wyatt does a lot of great framing for people, but I like mine simple. He framed one piece of mine, which was a Kitty's Fairy Tale, and he did a great job. But I tend to just go to the shop, order all the parts, and put it together myself.
Oh, really? Oh, you're one of those guys. Wow.
I don't trust the frame shop with expensive pieces.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I get that.
So I just get all the stuff. I've done it for 30 years. And then, I just, put it all together and, do it that way. Of course, always with UV glass.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. No problem with the gray. Like I say, I always tell these guys it's about black and white, but of course, different shades in between. So gray is part of that. So that's what I'm saying.
These guys, the white one, I like it for pops. Black, because you got so many lines, everything's inked. For me, it doesn't pop as much. So a gray or white tends to be what I would go with, just because the lines would pop inside.
Oh yeah, sure. No, that's totally cool. The thing is that these guys always bust my balls because I'm so anti those people who frame it black and white art. And they use like for example, the frame a Captain America page. Let's use Alberto as an example. They'll frame a Captain America black and white page, and they think because Captain America in the comics has like a mostly blue costume, so they'll put the undermat blue just because it's Captain America and he has a blue costume. And I always say it makes it look like it's made for a child's room, not an adult, And they bust my balls about that, so that's why we're all having.
And yes, Wyatt did rep Russ Heath. He was friends with him for decades.
What's up, JC? Yeah, I see. JC loves the gray matte. Neutral makes the white and black pop. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good as long as it's not colored, folks. It's a 4-color medium. Not the art though. Not the original art. I'd triple matte with red, white, and blue. You probably would, especially if it's a Captain America piece. All right. Let us go to the next piece, everybody. And from there, we go to I don't know what happened here, but we have some pieces out of order. In fact, the Enrique Romero piece was uploaded out of order. I wasn't even supposed to show that yet, but it doesn't matter. Let's go to the next piece. So that was number 4. This is 3. Okay, let's check this out, everybody. Here we go. It's on this one to show more art. I put 2 pieces, similar, related pieces on the same slide, and so I'll show 2 slides, one with the black and white art and one with the color. Check it out. Avengers, yes, sir. The introduction division.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of 57 and 58. I love Klein's inks.
Oh, me too.
I like him. He's one of my favorite inkers. I've got a Daredevil. He inked over Gene Colan, and then these 2 Avengers pages, and still looking for a Swan Klein page, which I haven't gotten yet. But yeah, these I love. The one on the right is kind of a retelling of Wonder Man, and the other one I like has most of the characters in it.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. By the way, Sean's just asking, did you ever attend shows with Steve Wyatt?
Oh yeah, I attended. I worked with him for Big Wow and SuperCon. I
Yeah.
was the one doing the program book and doing all the panels, and then I did a panel. I do a panel for years on inking. So yeah, I've known Wyatt for years. Him and the Steve Morger. We call it the Steve Cons because of the two Steves.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say Wyatt's a great guy.
Yeah, I met him. I met Steve Wyatt. Gosh, it had to have been probably 1999 or 2000 when I had gone to Motor City Con, and I found out he was a California kid, and I was like, "What? Like, what are you doing all the way coming up to the Motor City? Like, what's going on here in Michigan?" Like, but yeah, back in those days, the Motor City Con was actually considered one of the bigger and sort of better cons in the country, you know? So yeah, he said, yeah, I just wanted to travel and
yeah, and somebody asked about Klein. Klein passed away, I think, in 1970, but he did a lot of work with Kurt Swan on Superman, and a lot of the earlier Marvel Silver Age stuff. He does some great inking. And then the 57, 58 is what everybody liked because it's, Android can try. And I've never seen any pages from 56, which is the Captain America one where he goes back in time and sees Bucky die. And
Brian,
that's all by Klein.
Brian, that probably means there's a very good chance that book is still together somewhere.
I hope it's together. I hope it didn't get thrown away or destroyed. But I've never seen a page from it. Even the cover, I don't think I've seen.
Yeah. By the way, Sean says, I thought Brian looked familiar. I talked to Brian at several shows up here in Portland and Seattle. Never placed his name with the face.
I've never been to Portland. No. Maybe if he came to San Diego or one of the California shows.
Oh.
Or I'd go back to Motor City or Baltimore. I don't get to a lot of East Coast shows.
Okay. Stanley, what's up, Stanley? Have you ever been to Lake Como? Have you gone to that one?
No. It's too expensive.
Too expensive, too far.
It's too expensive, too far. I prefer the OAX kind of fills that gap better for me.
Yeah, for sure. And plus, as a California guy, I mean, Jesus, you've got the biggest and the best con right in America right there anyways. It's kind of
but the problem is there's still a lot of artists that don't like to come out to the West Coast. There's a lot of them that I'd like to see that just do shows on the East Coast or, East Coast region. Right. So that's the
Yeah, for sure. But still, I'm just saying, as somebody here in Canada, and for me, being on the East Coast and in Canada, believe me, when I tell you, as an outsider looking in, you got geographically, you're in the best place of all for being a comic book fan who wants to go to a convention. It's still like if you have to be stuck with only one con that's local to you, within at least a decent driving distance or a short flight, you're in the best place, Brian. You know what I mean? Like
well. Plus, I work for Hermes Press, so we're set up in San Diego. So I get a free badge, which I have to work off.
There you go. I was going to actually ask you about that Hermes Press. You guys been doing anything lately? Anything cooking in the books or?
Yeah, we have a book on George Wilson. Anybody know who George Wilson is? He did
the painted covers.
Yes.
The gold key stuff.
Yeah, well, with what you call can't think of it. The diamond, basically imploding, and then the tariffs in Canada and China. Right. That's kind of gotten us a little sidetracked. But we're going to be having our Popeye book of 100 years, and then also George Wilson, and we're working on a whole bunch of other books as well.
Oh, awesome! Oh, good to hear. Look forward to hearing the news as the news comes out slowly but surely, Okay, let's keep this rolling, everybody, from those beautiful 2 pages from Avengers 58. we go to, okay, let me see. Let me put this in order. So this is where I should have been showing the Enrique Romero. And then we go to, okay, so here we go, 4 and 5. The next one here, another similarly created 2 pages together with a second slide. I'll show you the color version as well. Here we go. Check this one out. Batman by Jose Luis Garcia-López.
One of my all-time favorite books. I just love this, and García-López, he does some fabulous work, and I think Dan Atkins, his inking has always been overlooked, and he did a great job inking John Buscema on Silver Surfer. Yep. And then he also inked him on Submariner and some other ones. But yeah, he's an inker he's not the one that everybody always talks about, but he always did a great job.
Oh, absolutely. And let me give a shout out. Let me give a shout out too that he did it when he went to DC. He did a great job over the late Don Newton's pencils on Batman.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, so I'm always looking for pages from this book.
Is it that you love the book, or in general, or is it possible this was your first Batman comic?
No, I just love the book with him trying to, I want to do a Mount Rushmore for myself. That's typical Joker. And and then the ending is that last page is just perfect.
Yeah. I always love last pages. I love last pages. Just the same way people get all excited about, first pages, splashes, whatever. I love last pages too. I think they're underrated,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of fans here too. Another great Spanish artist, says Alberto, although he lived most of his life in Argentina. Yes, sir. That's right. That's right. Born in Spain, but grew up in Argentina.
Another great Argentine, Eduardo Barreto.
Barreto, there, yeah. We'll see some Barreto tonight, Brian.
Yeah, well, between him and John Buscema, those are the 2 artists I have the most art of.
Oh yeah, wow. I mean, I know you're big fans of them. I wouldn't have thought that you had, more Barreto art than anybody else.
I got over 100 pieces of each.
Oh wow, well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean. Oh, you'd love to see my Titans. I don't have a portfolio. I just have a big box, and it's like 2 inches, and it's filled. I think there's about 70 pages, and those are just the new Teen Titans. Wow. And then the shadow work I also love.
Oh yeah, the shadow strikes. Yeah,
but it's amazing. I rarely see any new stuff pop up. Somebody's got a huge collection. I know it's not the family because I bought pretty much everything from them, but there's some people that have them because I just don't see. I see stuff that people resell, but I don't see anything really new. But he worked for DC for a long time.
Right. Yeah, these things happen though, right? It comes in waves sometimes, and you don't see nothing for years, and then suddenly, oh, look at this! It's somebody's selling off a bunch of pages, and you wonder, oh, is that the family? Is it the estate? Is it a collector that had them for 30, 40 years and, just letting go of them? You don't know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it goes. But that's awesome. I mean, you already got a lot. So if you never got another Barreto page in your life, I mean, you're doing well regardless. You know what I mean, Brian?
Yeah.
But okay, fantastic. Let us keep it rolling, everybody. And let me see. So we got yes, from Jose Luis Garcia-López. Let us see the next one. That is this. Steve Ditko, the Creeper. Awesome.
Yeah, everybody. A lot of people are big Spider-Man Ditko fans, and I like his Spider-Man stuff. But the Creeper was the character for me for Ditko. I think it fit his style. And I was able to get this from Anthony years ago, and it's a perfect one. He's laughing. He's in almost every panel. So I'm that's my Ditko one and done. I don't have to go chasing anything else.
Oh, that's great. It's nice that you don't have that feeling of, oh, it's got to be Spidey. You know what I mean? I love that.
No, I love Spidey.
Oh no, I know you do. I know you do. But what I'm saying is that it's great that you don't feel, in spite of the fact that you love Spidey, you don't feel that need of, but I have to get a page of Ditko Spidey. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'd have to sell a good part of my collection to get one of those, and this is just as good.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I love the Creeper. I mean, visually, even if and I've never really read a lot of Creeper stuff, but just from the purely visual standpoint, I love the look of the character. I love how he fits the Ditko aesthetic,
And it's the classic DC color scheme.
Oh yes.
With the the villains and what colors they used. When they created costumes for DC back then.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful stuff. It's got that crazy layout to match the character. Exactly. I
mean, this is back when people weren't doing panel pages, the non-standard way that he's doing it for this page.
Exactly. Yeah, that's fantastic. And like you said, Brian, I love the fact that he's going through the page from panel to panel and swinging and laughing, the whole ha 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 everywhere. Constantly. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. So that's fabulous. And thank you, Kavi, for reminding everybody there's like 40 people watching. Only 24 people have hit the like button. Actually, I hit the like button with 4 of my accounts, so that means only 21 of you hit the like button out of 40. There's 41 now, so there's 19, 20. So there's 20 or 21 of you watching live right now, hearing me say this, who have not hit that thumbs up icon somewhere here where I'm pointing. Please do that. I'm not asking you. I'm not going to ask you, let alone beg you to subscribe to my channel. I don't need you to do that. But I wouldn't mind if you just hit the like button. It's not much to ask. Thank you. And thank you again, Kavi. Appreciate it. Okay. What we got here? I hit twice under 2 different accounts. You did? Oh, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Does a thumb down take a thumb up away? I don't think so. But Sean, just so you know, the way that YouTube counts it is that it's not negative. It's not taken as a negative thing. They just see it as, oh, you've got, let's say, 10 likes and 1 dislike. So that's 11. So they see it as, 11 total engagement. Yeah. So the thumbs down would still help me. It's still good, but I prefer thumbs up anyways. So I'd appreciate that if you don't mind. Ruben, the like bot. Yeah. Declan Costello. Is this your first time here, Declan? I feel like if it isn't, maybe we saw you like 2 years ago or something. What's happening? Good to have you here this evening. Thank you for dropping in, by the way. And yes, sir. I look crazy. A lot more aren't watching tonight with Brian. Yeah, you're finding it crazy that a lot more people with a collection like Brian's on. I know. It's a little bit surprising too. But it has been creeping up slowly. And I think I have a feeling, Tom, that the rewinds will come in pretty strong. So it does. You can only do one or the other per account. Okay, right. Doesn't matter. Just engagement. Exactly. It's just for engagement. Yeah, no thumbs. A lot of people turned off because we were told the interview would be on location at the aquarium. Well, we realized the danger at the last second. Sharks eating people, Submariner not swimming to their rescue in time. I said we better just stay in the comfort and safety of our personal offices, Alberto. So I'm sorry. I apologize. I had to fly back from Monterey. There might be aquatic art. There may be aquatic art, even though it's not at the aquarium. Ruben's favorite Stones track, Under My Thumb. There you go. That's a beauty, Rick. I like that one. It is a great track.
Yeah,
let's see. Okay, so let me jump back in here, fellas, and let's go to the next page. Oh, yeah. I love this one. Talk to us a bit about this one, Brian. Love it.
Oh, yeah. So, I got into reading a lot of the independent black and white comics of the 80s. And this was, so over the top. As I said, I love the series. Yeah. And when this one came up, I think it was in Comic Link, I bid on it. The other thing I'm disappointed in is the artwork in the strips, I guess, was a separate page, and Chapin doesn't know what happened to him. So, you know, hey, you never know. It might show up. I think he said he thinks he just did it on a separate piece of Bristol, and then it was kind of just you know, stripped in when they printed it. But yeah, they got a bunch of them. But this one kind of, you know, it's the best. I think the best example for the whole series. So, yeah,
it's certainly up there with one of my favorites. So yeah. Really
and the new series, it was just it wasn't. You know, this one was original. I mean, did it to shock people, but it was interesting story as well.
I mean, in fairness, Brian, can we say that even this series in '88 was also done to shock people?
Oh yeah, no. This one was, but he did it, but it was done well.
Yeah.
The new one, I grabbed the first couple issues, and it was kind of a little more all over the place.
Okay.
And you know, I think he just, I'll just go back to this. The first one, he was doing it for a specific reason,
right?
And I think, you know, and it was you like nothing else, and that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
and
I could
help a lot of people, which he wanted to do too.
Oh, really? Well, I could be wrong, of course. I'm not saying that this is what he was thinking. I'm just saying my gut feeling when I heard about the newer series, my initial instinct was simply, oh God, Howard's going back to the well because he figures, okay, maybe this will get me some good coin, you know, a good cash or what, you know. People with the nostalgia from the 1988 series, and they'll come back and buy all the, you know. That's what if he hears Howard, if you're ever watching this, I'm not saying that that's what you were thinking. I got that sense that maybe that's the reason you were thinking it. But feel free to come on my show and let us know the truth.
And then how he draws them now is just.
It's also different. It's so different now.
Well, no, but then he wouldn't draw a whole page. He'd draw part of a page and then a figure on another and put it together. So if you buy the artwork,
right.
And he does it with pretty much everything else. Now he just draws figures, puts them all together in Photoshop. And I see some of the stuff he has, and it's like, yeah, it's not the story. It's just a bunch of sketches.
Yeah. It's like a hodge
of 80s stuff.
Yeah. That's it. It's like a hodgepodge of random images on different pieces of paper that you then collate together on a computer. So it's not a cohesive whole, if you will, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I totally get it. So
I did get Howard to do a Black Kiss iPod piece.
So, cool.
So I figured that would fit right in.
Yeah. All right, let us keep it rolling, everyone. From that beautiful Howard Chaykin, we go into the world outside of comic books and into the world of comic strips. Check it out.
Oh yeah, Bloom County was one of my all-time favorites, and Bill the Cat.
Yeah.
I think got 3 Bloom Counties with Bill the Cat in it. And this is the best with when he had Trump's brain, and it's one of the best gags I think they've seen.
Yeah, it's a good.
So I'm still looking for a Cutter John and a Star Trek, but I don't see too many of them out there. But maybe he'll sell some more strips.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, I remember when I was a teenager. I will say, I personally, as a teenager, did not really, I don't know if I got it or not, but I didn't find it funny. Every now and then, yes, but I couldn't get into it. But I did love Berkeley's art style. And I remember, and back in those days, I wanted to be an artist. And so I was always in school on the margins of my notebook pages, constantly drawing Bill the Cat. I loved the design of Bill the Cat. And that's really the reason I wanted to show this particular one, because I was just like, okay, he's got a really great Dober cat example, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got a number of them. So yeah, it was one of my favorites from the 80s. You know, that and Dilbert for me.
Oh yeah.
And then later, especially Dilbert, because I ended up working in cubicles, so a lot of those jokes resonated with me.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, some fans here in the chat as well. That's cool. What's up, Sonny? Good to see you, man. Thanks for dropping in. All right. All right. So from the world of newspaper strips, which I do love, we will jump right back in to comic book art. And we'll show you this amazing piece from this title that a lot of you are big fans of. But it's not from the series. And I was hoping that, of course, Brian will tell us if he ever did the research to tell us if it predates the series or not. Check it out.
Yeah, so well, it was done after the Excalibur special,
okay,
and but before the series started. So it was right, and it was, you know, so
in
before
between
the series, but after the first time Excalibur was published.
Okay.
And so yeah, I got this one years ago from Gary Land, who had
he had all of
the Excalibur art.
Yeah.
And
yeah, all the Davis Excalibur art. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my one of my favorites, even though it wasn't from the series. I got another cover from one of these magazines, but it's still great art.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. You know, originally I had chosen a couple of your interior pages and I put them both together on a slide. But I was like, yeah, you know, I gotta make some tough choices. And then I was like, you know what? I really, really love the diagonal layout of this, of how you know, all that background is limited to that diagonal left side of the piece, you know, and then the bottom sort of right hand side of the piece is all blank. I just love that contrast. So
you could have used the 2 pages from issue 3 where Nightcrawler's on his jungle gym. That's some pretty good composition. And to answer one of the questions, you know, Gary's still collecting. In fact, he's working with Comic Connect, and he was at San Diego last 2 years. Before that, he hadn't been there in like 10. And he was also at OEX the last couple of years.
That's right. I saw him on one of the videos on YouTube at OAX, walking by the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, I've known him for probably 25, 30 years. He lives in the town where my father was born. And so it's been a while, but I did go back and visit him. He has a pretty amazing collection.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Just
okay.
in politics.
Yeah. That's with Gary especially. Yeah.
But you know what? If you don't talk politics, he's still a nice guy and great to talk to about artwork. So
for sure,
don't hold it against him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I spent some time flipping through his portfolio once at Windy City. We were both at the Windy City Pulp and Paper Con, because he sets up there every year as well. And we went to Steve Smith's house, who always invites, you know, all the people from the convention to come over to the house, and he and his wife sort of host a little get together. And sat there looking through his portfolio, had a good nice chat, and
he only has to just hop across the Lake Michigan, since he's in Grand Rapids, to the Windy City. I keep wanting to go back to that show. It just never seems to work out.
Really? You would go to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also a blues fan. So
okay,
Chicago, right?
yeah. Well, just outside of Chicago, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it'd be an excuse to go back to hear some really good blues.
Okay, yeah. That's if you're going for more than just the con, I would say, yeah. Obviously, for that reason, I would think, yeah, that's good. Tom would get along with him. What kind of assertion are you making there, Marcus? Tom, would you get along?
I've been to Buddy Guy's Legends. That is a great place.
Buddy Guy's
Legends. In fact, I went with my mother when we were back in Chicago when she used to still live in Michigan.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. And by the way, remind me, Brian, where exactly in Michigan did you grow up?
I grew up in Ann Arbor, University of Michigan.
You were literally in Ann Arbor?
Yeah, wow. That's cool.
No wonder you're all about the Wolverines. Go blue, baby! Woo!
And then my mother's family is in Three Rivers, which is just south of Kalamazoo. And when I go back to visit them, I would go up to Fanfare.
Oh my God, Tom! Good old Tom.
Well, he has a comic book shop, and before he was repping artists, he sold comic art. And in fact, I bought some of my earliest pieces from him. And then, a lot of times I'd fly back, and in his store, in the back room, he had Warren full-size paintings of some of the Warren covers hanging up in his office.
Wow.
And so I bought some Prohaus Spy versus Spy and a bunch of other stuff. And then when he started repping, Stuart Amaman, he did the new X-Men, all new X-Men. I bought a bunch of stuff from him. I think I got lucky on some of the covers because he knew me, so I was able to pick them up real early.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was a good guy. I mean, he's still a good guy. It's just, he's not in the hobby anymore, obviously.
I haven't flown back to visit family in Three Rivers, so I haven't had a chance to go up and see him at his shop.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, good guy. And just in your honor, Brian, let me just quickly show something that doesn't belong to you. Yeah, baby. Woo! Beat Ohio State. Yeah.
They need to have a T-shirt of Michigan Smash.
Yeah, man.
They do. I have a couple of. I've got a Captain America, Star Wars, a few other Michigan shirts that they ended up using. Either comic book characters or stuff from movies like Star Wars.
Right. Excellent. All right. Let's keep the show rolling, everybody, and go on to the next piece. And that is, let me see. Yes. Stick with Marvel. A lot of Marvel, obviously, going to be tonight.
I'm a Marvel guy, but I still
I got some DC though. But Brian's a Marvel guy more so than DC, so we'll see a lot of that. But great stuff. So let's check it out. Check this one. Awesome.
Oh yeah. So this is one of my favorite stories ever. I first read it in Son of Origins, and was able to acquire this cover. I even had Stan sign it outside of the image area. And I am looking for any interior pages. I have not seen one interior page from this. And it's most of the pages don't have superheroes. He's fighting a bunch of thugs. But it's one of those stories that resonated with me. And the cover's top 10 of my collection, or top 5 of my collection, should say.
Oh yeah, this would make one of your top 5 favorite pieces.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I would have a tough time picking, narrowing it down.
And of course, this is another Klein piece. So.
Yeah, there you go. Peter's like, oh, kick-ass cover again, that Klein guy, because I introduced him to Klein over Buscema a few months ago. I was talking about it on my show, telling people, hey, it's not just Palmer that did some great stuff. You got to check out that Klein stuff on Avengers. He didn't do much, but you got to check it out. It's really awesome, you know?
And also, I think Klein, there's a handful of people that really understood Colan, and Klein was one of them.
Yes.
I mean, Tom Palmer, there's other people who do good jobs, but, you know, with his pencil, you know, all the grays and that. And I know some of the inkers said that it's really tough to get exactly what he was going for, but you know, Tom inked him so much and really understood him, and I think he's one of the best. But Klein is also another one who's really good over Colan.
Oh yeah, beautiful. What a great cover, man. What a great cover. And by the way, Brian, how long approximately have you had this piece?
Oh, I think since maybe 15 years.
Oh, okay, nice. That's a long time already. Wow. Was this was this a dealer piece, or do you remember, or
no, it was an auction piece.
Auction piece. Oh, you had to battle it out, huh?
Yeah, and I got it. Well, I held off on getting it framed until I had Stan signed it, and then when I framed it, Stan signed above it. So I've got it looks a little off, but yeah, you can see Stan's nice big signature. When I had him sign it, I put it inside of a Mylar so he could only sign it above the artwork.
Okay.
Because he was notorious for signing
in
the artwork.
Yeah, we know. And by the way, Sean, just to answer, I don't know at all, but my guess is that I don't think so. Coincidence? Klein is a very...
I don't think it is, because you know
it's a common name, first of all.
Yeah.
And I believe that George passed away like
1970s
or early 70s, or like
he started doing a little of the Marvel Silver Age, and then he passed away.
Yeah.
I think it was not soon after, like 59 or 60 Avengers, which he inked. Which is
exactly. I think just coincidence. I'll go. Yeah. I always assumed coincidence. I'll continue assuming coincidence. You know.
Yeah.
And only J. Scott Campbell pieces can have Stan Sig's look good. He's being facetious, in case anybody doesn't know. All right, excellent. Yeah, fantastic piece. So happy you could show that one. Congrats on owning it, obviously, Brian. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, let's go on to another great piece, for which I was so jealous. This issue, when it came out, oh God, I was so housed. Oh my God, this is awesome. I can't believe this is happening. Oh my God. It's her. It's really her. Oh my God. And then the whole story behind you and this issue, amazing. You can talk about the page, and then talk about the whole story behind it if you want. Here, check it out.
Oh yeah. So, hey, I mean, Jean Grey collector, and I was buying pages from Jim Warden at WonderCon, probably starting in the late 80s into the 90s. And then I bought all the pages that John had, and I, trying to put the book together. And, unfortunately, it was a 30-page book. And, the pages were just hard to find because, well, most of it is Terry's got like a third of it. I think he might have sold a page. And then I started, buying them up. And this one here was in 2014, a collector that I was talking to on and off for years. I didn't know who he was at first because I was going through a fellow collector because one didn't want to know that he had it.
Oh.
And then I finally was working, and I worked out a deal. It was maybe a few months before San Diego 2014. Well, then he let this go. He decided to sell the cover. So I made him an offer, and he decided no, he wanted some more. So went into auction and Heritage, and this was, and it was shown, the cover was at San Diego because the auction was after San Diego.
Right.
And I did. Okay, So one thing I do kind of regret, I was telling people, hey, I want to go after this, could you, hold back? And so when it came up for auction, I basically bid what I wanted, what I originally offered before.
Oh.
And I ended up being the underbidder.
Oh, did you? Wow.
And the person who, the person who had it, they basically lost money.
Oh,
because it was bid above, and even if they would have not paid any
fee, the seller fee, right?
The buyer's fee pushed it above, so it wasn't that much difference, but they did. Now,
so just hold on a second, Brian. I want to make sure I understand. Are you saying that the seller is okay? The seller who consigned it is still the same guy who owned it when you were trying to get it privately?
Well, no, I made an offer after I got the other piece that you just showed.
Okay.
And then he said, well, no, I think I'll go to auction. And that's right after he went to auction.
Oh, that's okay. It did it quickly after. Okay.
And now I was interested in it. I might have gone a little higher. I mean, I love the cover because I was looking to get the book.
Yeah.
But in the end, it is one of his weaker FF covers. It's it's a little wonky, but I liked it. The problem that happened, and I know you're probably going to take at least one piece from what I'm going to talk about. I know it's going to be, or maybe two, is I got the How to Draw book at San Diego 2014. So when that showed up, I could have still gotten the other one at the same time, but when I got that one, I was like, I got this one, so I don't want to go strong after the FF cover. I mean, because I had to put some money down, and then later in the year, I purchased the How to Draw book. But basically, that coming up kind of said, well, I'm going to make the same offer that I did before, and I'm not going to go crazy for it. A few people got pissed at me because they held off. Oh. And, if the other cover book, if the other How to Draw hadn't shown up, I would have gone higher on it.
Right.
It's just that I've got the other one, and the How to Draw book I loved 100 times more.
Yeah. Oh, perfect reasoning. So I just wanted to clear up. The point I was trying to get at was, okay, so that guy that consigned it was the same guy who, you tried to get it from privately. So what you're saying, and according to what you said, Brian, what Marcus has been mentioning here, let me pop it back up again. What you guys are saying is that because of the fee structure at Heritage, it actually ended up making him lose a little bit of money. So
yes.
I mean that okay.
Because it was basically I was the underbidder. There was one bid above me. Yeah. Which is usually 1,000 or 50, but then you got 20%. If he got the seller, no seller's fee, he might have had seller's fee. But let's just say if he didn't go seller's fee, the buyer's fee would have basically brought him slightly under what not a big difference, but basically, what I'd offered, it would have been less hassle and whatever.
No,
it is what it is. And so
that's how it works out sometimes. That's how it works out, right? You take your chances when you're getting an offer privately. And listen, I've been on both sides of that equation where I do the deal privately, and other times I'm like, you know what? I just feel like I'd rather take my chances with the auction because I still feel that even with the buyer's premium removed, or factored in, I feel like this thing can still do better than, And sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. So
it could have been me asking if people hold off, and that was
right.
That was I shouldn't have done it. And things, first I was going to go higher, and then it just kind of changed, and it is what it is. And then after that, basically, I was like, oh, not going to get the cover. And Terry's been holding on to the books, the pages. And the page at that time was getting to be expensive. And I'm like, I've gotten pretty much all the ones that I really like. There's like maybe one other one. And then I also, to get other stuff, like I sold off a couple of the flashback unpublished pages.
Right.
And I take it everybody knows that the flashback pages that were published were not drawn by John Byrne. They were drawn by Butch Guice, who aped their style, and the flashback was redone because Jim Shooter, being a prick, didn't like John leaving, so he got Chris Claremont to come in, rewrite the flashback so the character was slightly different, and that's why John took his name off and it says "You Know Who."
Right.
And so I had I think 3 of the 4 pages, and I sold a couple of them. I still have the one really nice one which got the Phoenix on everything. But I just decided I've got all the pages I really like. Right. Maybe one other one I'd like. But since Terry's not selling it and the way the prices were going, it wasn't worth chasing it.
Yeah, you finally came to the conclusion that at this point it's never going to happen. I would never own this
together. Yeah. I put one together and I was more buying from both the artists. Right. I've got another one that I'm 1 page short, and I've been looking for that for
years.
Was it 30 years?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so frustrating. I mean, think about it. 1 page away, guys. He's 1 page away to complete a story, and it's 30 years that he's been waiting for that 1 page. It still hasn't turned up. So,
I was 3 pages for years, and then I think about 2-3 years ago, 2 of them showed up on eBay, and I was eventually able to get both of them. But there's one, and so
yeah.
Patience is the name of the game in collecting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. Although even still, it doesn't guarantee it, So
yeah, but I think it's a known artist and known book, so eventually it's not like some obscure, 80s comic.
No, exactly. Okay, all right, excellent. Well, let us keep it rolling, everybody, and go to the next page from the wonderful Byrne Austin X-Men Return of Phoenix. We go to the world of DC for a short stint. Let's check this out.
Yeah, Nick, no, I have 30 complete. It's Uncanny X-Men 308 that I'm missing a page.
Thank you for making it official. Yes, so where was I? Yes, DC, everybody, DC in the house. And Nikki, don't go anywhere. You'll appreciate this. Check it out.
Oh, yeah. So I think I even got this. Let's see. No, that one I got from Nostalgia. I've been looking for a page with the Flash costume coming out, and I was able to get it at San Diego years ago. Right. And then I happened to get another one where the costume's going in by the same artist, and I thought they were nice kind of bookend pieces.
I mean, that's why I felt I had to put them together.
I prefer Infantino's 60s. I don't know what it is, but his face has changed. I still like it, but prefer his 60s and 70s work.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. I personally was introduced to his stuff when I was starting out in 1982. Yeah. So for me, it's his early 80s stuff that I'm more partial to, but I love them both, So
these I love. It's just the style changed a little. And I said, the 190. Yeah, the 190. Is that the No, No, 192 is not by Mike DeCarlo. They're both by Infantino, and I believe it's Infantino. Yeah, it's the top one is Infantino and Anderson, I believe.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Mike DeCarlo, or
this is sorry, Brian. This is me working at 5 a.m. again and copying and pasting and not changing the name. I'm so sorry. But it's Infantino both times, obviously. Just yeah, I greatly apologize for that, everybody. Yeah, that's what happens when I'm working through the night doing this stuff. I hate that. So sorry. Yes. So my greatest apologies to you, Brian, and my apologies to everybody else for the mistakes.
It's Joe Giella is the inker.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Joe Giella was the inker for the first the Silver Age page.
Yeah, and then it was Anderson for the second.
Yeah, that's right. I got that right at least.
Yeah. So, anyways, so it's a nice bookend in and out. I don't think I've ever come across any pages where they have it where the outfit is coming into the ring, but that was part of the story, so it worked out that way.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said, I like them, and I thought, okay, you got 2 Infantino pages. I love Infantino. I love the Flash. I thought, oh, I'll put them together, and we can see twice as much art. So that's really why I put them together. And then I read your descriptions, and I realized, oh yeah, it's got that whole ring thing, in the ring, out the ring, you know? Yeah. So I thought, okay, might as well put them together, and you know, yeah, it's fun to show it that way. Maki Poo Poo, what's up? Good to see you. Good evening. No, I do have to apologize because I'm making more and more of these damn mistakes because like I said, Tom, I keep doing this. I keep working late into the night to get these shows done. But being that tired always, that's it. I'm doing it literally with my eyes glazed over, and yeah, it's making me, it's causing me to make more and more mistakes. It's not a mistake in the sense of, oh, I thought it was DeCarlo who drew it. It's a mistake that I just simply, I'm so half asleep, I forgot to change the name when I copied, the DeCarlo name or copied and pasted DeCarlo's name. I just forgot to change it. So it's frustrating. As a perfectionist, I can tell you it's very frustrating. But anyways, okay. I'm glad we can correct that at least verbally, if not visually on the screen. And yeah, beautiful art, Brian. All right, let us keep it going and go straight to the next one. And let's see what we got here for this one. Oh, yeah. Woo! Love this, baby. Love it.
Yeah, so Al Williamson's one of my favorite artists, and especially an inker. And this was, published in the Flash Gordon. And this was Archie Goodwin's and Al Williamson's tryout for the Secret Agent X9 newspaper strip, which he started, I don't know, a couple months later. But it was like a 4 or 5 page story as a backup. And I got this one because so many of the, it's got such a strong Alex Raymond vibe, especially the head drawings there on the page. And so, there's the rest of the story would have been nice. It was auctioned off individual pages, but this is the one I wanted, and it's all Al Williamson, and I think it's it's his peak period.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely stunning, my friend. Absolutely stunning. And shockingly, guys, you're gonna hear me say I actually like the colored version, and I say that, Brian, because we on my channel very often bitch about how bad we hate, how much we hate the coloring in most comics, But I actually like
the coloring is good, but for me, the black and white.
Oh yeah,
I just love Al.
Oh yeah, you can't. Yeah. There's no comparison. Of course. Absolutely. Alberto says, I love the Flash Gordon cartoon back in the day. I never watched it. Ruben also has a great example of
the 70s filmation. They ended up basing a lot of that on the Alex Raymond strip.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
yeah,
then the second year, conservatives started complaining about Animal Man being non-human, and that's why they took him out.
Oh, okay, interesting.
The first year was so influenced by the strip, and the second year was good, but it lost something. But I agree, the strip was really good. The animation was really good.
All right, another vote for the animation. Evgeny, what's up, comic book and comic art lovers? What's happening, man? All right, let us keep it rolling. I am a bit behind, guys, so I got to catch up and move a little bit faster, and I'll try to keep my own comments about the art to a minimum, so it saves a little time. Let us jump into the next piece, and that is this one. Check this one out.
Oh yeah, I'm big fan of Ghost Rider. I read the series in the 70s, and Ron Perlman and Dave Simons, they did such a great job. Inking on this is just amazing.
Yeah, love it. Really, really love it. I've always said, Brian, personally, my favorite Ghost Rider art is the stuff done like in the second half of that series. So pretty much all the stuff by Budiansky, especially the Budiansky.
Oh yeah, I'd love one of his covers. But the other thing is that the first couple of issues of I always get them confused. Marvel feature Spotlight, where he was first introduced. The Mike Ploog stuff is just amazing. I was able to buy a page from Mike when he was at San Diego one time, and I was amazed he still had a page left. But when I saw it, I said, I got to get this one. So, yeah, the whole series, I enjoyed when they brought him back, and Texera doing that. But I love the original costume.
Yeah, me too.
The flaming cycle. So they're each good, but the nostalgia for me is the 70s stuff.
Me too. I feel exactly the same way. I loved, Saltaris and Texera together on that book. I thought it looked great. But like you said, I still love this costume, this leather motorcycle costume, jacket and pants better, without the spikes and stuff. It's so classic. I love the skull in that old costume much better. But what a fantastic page, by the way. Just superb quality. Yeah, superb content quality on that one. So amazing. Okay, keep rolling, boys. From the Ghost Rider, we're going to go to something that Brian mentioned earlier this evening. A commission theme that he's very, very famous for within the hobby. And you're going to see that it is not a coincidence. He's got a huge collection of these. Not a coincidence which two I selected to put on the slide. You'll see why in a second. Check it out.
Oh yeah. Those Tom's done a couple of those for me, and when I was thinking about the hair, and I'm like, and he hit it just right. And then Mike Perkins as well. For the people who don't know, I used to work for Apple, and I had worked on the iPod. And when it got released, I was trying to think of a theme that was a little more different, unique than, just draw a character. Yeah. And almost all the artists had iPods. So I just said, draw an iPod. And they loved it. They gave them something different, to do. And some of them, some of the iPod ones where they're not wearing anything but listening to an iPod. Some very unique artists on that, and I'm surprised you didn't pick the Adam Hughes one.
Oh well, honestly, like I said, Brian, I was just like, okay, I've already spent close to 50 at that point. I was like, I
know that
hours. Yeah, I figured it was just easier for me to look, right? I forgot he's got one from the two artists whose artwork I focus my collecting on. Yeah. I'll take them, that's all.
Oh yeah. And I've just gotten some great ones over the years. trying to mix it up with different characters, and I always get something always unique. And I've done over 100 of them.
Oh wow, you're up to over 100?
Yeah, 100 iPod. The iPod ones maybe two dozen or less. And that one I just came up because there was a swimsuit edition where they'd end up they had women, and they had body paint, and it was music related, so they had bands painted, on the naked models. Well, one of them was laying in the sand, not wearing anything, and having the iPod. He had her hands on her breasts, and the iPod was covering another part of her anatomy. And I thought, oh, that's perfect for people that do pinup work that has no problem drawing nudity. I would ask them, but majority of artists, I would just do a standard iPod piece.
Right.
And I pretty much got every artist I want. There might be one or two left, but can't think of them off the top of my head.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. It's always been a fun series and theme, if you will. I think it's been for years watching you get them. It's always been kind of fun.
I think I might have gotten one last year before.
But I know you've slowed down a lot.
Yeah, because I basically got, and I might get another one from artists, but usually I'm satisfied with just getting one. And I don't really collect comics, so I'm not as into the newer artists.
Right.
And I tend to be a lot more selective.
Yeah.
When I look at what they've done, and so I haven't had one that I've really not liked. All of them are great.
That's fantastic. And you know what's great too, Brian? What I always thought about this. I was like, it's a good thing that the primary reason you started the theme was because you were working at Apple and working on the whole iPod thing, as opposed to, had you been just a comic art collector who happened to, oh, what's this product Apple is coming out with? Oh, iPod. Oh, that sounds cool. I'll buy one. I'm a fan of this, right? Because if that would have been the case, I feel like you might have all these years later been feeling like, oh man, that, the iPod's outdated now. Nobody uses that technology anymore. My commission theme is kind of pointless now because of the technology being kind of done away with.
Hey, I still do. I've had a couple of them where they do the iPhone, but I still have, I still got photos on my laptop. If I'm doing a commission or something, I'll send them samples, and it doesn't matter if it's an old one. It's an iconic product.
No, yeah, for sure. But all I'm saying is, it helps to always, you'll always love this collection, of commissions, because you had a part in it. I mean, you worked there, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? So that makes it more special. You'll always have that connection. And
I even have a published one from Fantastic Four done by Mike McCone. They're going into the hospital. I think Johnny was in the hospital and giving him a iPod, and I know Mike, and he ended up giving me the page, and it was really cool to have a published one with so I bought a few pages which have iPods in them as well, but I mostly keep the commissions.
Yeah. By the way, these guys keep saying the word Zune, and I said, what's Zune? And they asked me to ask you what Zune means.
Zune was a piece of crap music player before the iPod came out, and I had to test those things against Apple products, and it was terrible. It was one of those.
Who was the manufacturer?
I believe Microsoft.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Tom's saying the Zune was Microsoft's iPod. Okay.
Yeah. So
never heard of it. Wow. Okay.
I don't know why, because it was a piece of crap.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, I'm a Mac guy, so I don't like.
Yeah. I know that.
Anyway, so so excuse me if I'm saying something bad about it.
Yeah. All right. Let us get on to the next piece, everybody. Well, I don't have to say anything. You guys know why I would love this. All right. Let's check it out.
Oh yeah, that's what I said.
I mean, you know,
and I know you're always crunched for time, but my one big pet peeve on comic art fans or anything else people are talking about artwork is inkers. And Romeo Pangal was one of the best inkers over Eduardo Barreto. I liked Edwards when he inked himself, but
because I just want to say, Brian, really quick, I have to. Now, I don't really want to because I know he's still alive, but like only because you mentioned it, I got to say, conversely, and I was a huge Titans fan. I mean, I still am, and I loved them, especially back in the 80s, blah, 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 like we all did. But as I got older and I learned more about art and I developed my eye much more, I mean, I can tell you he's he's like probably the worst inker ever on Perez. That stuff, there's people always used to ask, like, hey, how come this Titan stuff, even though it was DC's answer to Marvel's X-Men, how come the prices on the comics and the artwork never got even remotely close to the Byrne X-Men and all that? And it's like, yeah, because that art still holds up. But the Perez Titans are on the Romeo Pangal issues. Oh, it's not very good.
Yeah, but you also got to remember with the Titans, it was one of his earliest stuff. Have you seen some of Perez's early pencils?
Oh, of course I have.
A lot of his early pencils, they were saved by his inkers. He got a lot better later on, but I mean, the thing is that everybody loves the Titans Perez work, and I do like it, but if I have the choice, I like Barreto. I will pick Barreto over Perez Titans every time.
Yeah.
And I'm in the minority, but his compositions are, I think a lot better than Perez. Perez does some good stuff, but Barreto, his compositions are very unique and very well done.
Yes.
So,
he was.
I think that I liked Romeo over Barreto with the inks.
Yeah. I will admit, I absolutely have no problem with Pangal's inks on Barreto. And I also love Barreto's own pencils and inks as well when he worked on, just by himself. So beautiful pages. And speaking of Eduardo Barreto, Starfire and Titans centric stuff, I couldn't resist, guys. Take a look at this. We got to show you some more. Yay!
and that was inked by Pablo Marcos.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh.
And the thing, I know you're only putting 2 pages, but I have all 3 pages.
Oh yeah, you got the third one. Yeah.
Yeah, but these are the more interesting ones.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That's right. It wouldn't have looked so good if I squished in a third page.
No, it isn't. But no, these are the other one was you had Donna showing up, but I mean this is basically, the second page is the end of the joke.
Oh, right.
With the, loves me not, that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, tearing up the piece of paper or whatever. Yeah.
Oh that's a flower.
No, but isn't it a piece of paper that? Oh, he didn't grab an actual flower.
Yeah, I believe it was a flower.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
A flower, and he's going through.
Okay, my mistake. Wow. My mistake. Yeah, but yeah, she looks great in these, says Sean. And yeah, exactly.
Well, especially Barreto and then Grummett. But I always love how they do the hair, and then hair turning into the trail behind.
Yeah,
both of them I think did a great job of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, love it. Fantastic.
Unfortunately, these days artists tend to give her pupils, which never makes sense.
Yeah, and they put her into this costume a few years back. She looks.
Oh, I hate the costume. Whenever if I do an iPod commission with her, I say it's got to be the Perez outfit.
It gives the look of like a stripper. That's what it made me feel like. I was like, it's kind of like stripper, like it's like cheap. She looks like a cheap floozy kind of like. Yeah. You know, if you remember her character, she was always. I mean, she was built like she was built for sex, but her personality was so innocent. You know, wide-eyed and innocent, and she was so cute, her character, you know, and yeah, then they kind of put that new costume several years ago, and she's kind of, I don't know, she looks like a slutty kind of, I don't know what they're going for, but not a fan, you know.
I have a feeling I know a piece that you're going to be highlighting here later on.
Really? What do you think that might be? I think you might be wrong.
You've wanted from me.
I got it from you?
You want from me.
Oh, that I want from no, I did not put that one.
You didn't? I'm shocked.
No,
I am shocked.
No. You know what, Brian, you might be forgetting. I certainly don't recall reaching out to you to see if I could get it. You reached out to me and I showed interest. Of course, I worked something out if I could, but I never reached out to you.
I think you had at one time just inquired. Nothing.
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. But you can definitely remember that I've never come out and constantly.
No. It's like hey, if you want to, you know, part with it or something like that. You know, people, collectors do it offhand, and a lot of times we forget we've mentioned anyways.
That's true. Sean, stop reading the series in '85, so I missed his run on Titans. Oh, Barreto, I guess you're talking about. Yeah. Ruben likes
it's a really good run, and they did that, you know, with the what was it, the Baxter paper, and on all the Baxter paper, they ended up doing it on the oversized 13x19. I never could understand why certain series had that and others didn't, but I'd say almost all my New Teen Titans by Barreto is done on the oversized 13x19.
Okay.
And when he did my commission, I asked if he had any of the 13x19. He said yes, he did. So he did the commission. Okay. He is also one of my top 5 pieces.
Oh, which one?
The Starfire commission that. Yeah.
Top 5 in your collection or your commission collection?
No, my collection.
Wow.
Because I basically worked with him and I gave him some ideas, and then he came back, and then the first idea, and then I kind of made a little change, and then with a surprise, he ended up sticking me in the commission.
Oh.
I'm one of the floating heads in there. If you look at the anyway.
You are?
Yes.
I have to go back later. Okay. I'll have to look at that again. That's funny. Okay.
And then, I mean, he did the Starfire logo. I mean, the composition is perfect, and it's also something that I basically gave him, you know, ideas for the vignettes, and you know, it's one of those. It was the perfect commission.
Are you talking about the one by Tom or by Ed?
Ed. I love Tom. And I did that after the fact, but no, Ed's, I ended up, because I bought a whole bunch of pieces from him, and then I said, well, you do commission, and then once he did my commission, I was like telling other artists, like 1 minute later, I got a great one, and he's done some other ones. I also, I got the 1 minute later that he did a Batman, but he's done some other ones. It was just perfect, and the price you couldn't beat. So
you mean for the commission?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I would have paid a lot more, but I said, okay. And I also, when I do commissions, I also like to get prelims. So he sent me all the prelims. I like to see the process.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. That's always fun to see, you know, so it's nice when they do that. Excellent. All right. Well, fantastic. Yeah, love this stuff. But let's keep it rolling, everybody. One more related piece and a beauty. Let me show you this one.
Oh yeah, yeah, the ones where he was doing the games.
Yeah, Teen Titans. Yeah, the long overdue, 20-year overdue graphic novel.
Yeah, and that bottom panel with her
Yeah,
just laid out. I mean,
yeah,
George and Mike did such a fantastic job.
yeah.
And
I love that.
yeah,
I mean,
it was yeah.
I love the middle tier, but yeah, that money shot at the bottom. Oh,
Yeah,
so
the
good.
only thing that I'm disappointed in was this was done after Word Balloons. They stopped adding to the originals, and
Oh
so
yeah,
that's my one.
pet peeve, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's why I really don't buy many panel pages unless it's something really special about the art. I tend not to get pages that don't have word balloons.
okay. Yeah.
Or
So
at
that
least
another.
because most times when I'm buying stuff, for the nostalgia, I like the story.
Yeah, yeah,
And pages that I have that I buy specifically for the story itself. Like the artwork, but I like the story even better.
yeah. Oh, totally get that. Yeah, there's a lot of us in the hobby that will feel the same way. So, not surprising at all. Excellent, excellent, beautiful page. And by the way, do you remember? Did you have to go through Spencer to get that one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's
Yeah,
what I
no,
thought.
I've known Spencer for years, and he was the one who helped me complete my X-Men 30 book.
Oh, good. Yeah, yeah, great stuff. Coming in late here. Let me just put it back up for a second, just so I can put the comments over it. I don't know why you guys are so slow with the comments. Sometimes, Tom. Perez and Perkins, excellent page. Yes, sir. Big fan of Starfire, so very jealous. And games people play, you take it or you leave it. Oh, this Rick singing for us. All right. All right. Let's jump back from DC into Marvel now, everybody, to one of Brian's. I don't know if it's Brian will tell us if it's because it's a favorite character or if it was just that it was a favorite series of his that made him kind of love the character. Check this one out.
Oh, I'm a huge Nightcrawler fan.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic.
Dave Cockrum, him and Davis, I think, are the two best to draw Nightcrawler. And this one, I've got two pages from the series. I like this one better because, well, it's all Dave. The next one with Joe Rubinstein's good, but the content is what I love on this one. So yeah,
Right.
I don't have as much Nightcrawler, but I really do love Nightcrawler.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I've always been a fan of all those new X-Men from Giant Size X-Men 1, all those characters. I just have this I love them all. Him, Storm, Wolverine, Colossus.
And Dave is one of the best costume designers, I think.
Whoa.
He was at his peak in the 70s and early 80s.
Oh yeah. I have been on record, in my opinion, the best. I don't know who could really realistically come close to sort of giving him a challenge. To me, I absolutely think it's Cockrum.
Yeah.
But it's arguable, I suppose, if you want to argue it. But yeah, I feel it's always been Dave to me, This really shows off Dave's range. Love the odd stuff. Remember that miniseries brings back memories. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then the Banff, of course, that one came from Uncanny X-Men 153, Kitty's Fairy Tale.
That's right. Exactly. Okay. So from DC, we went to Marvel. From Marvel, we go to indie art. You guys know that Brian likes to collect art from this one company that's not Marvel and DC. It's got a certain underlying theme to it, but I can only I have to leave out a lot of stuff. I could choose one piece, and I chose to go with something that began the whole thing. Well, you'll see what I mean in a second. Check this out.
Oh yeah, Starfems, one of Bill Black's earlier magazines. So
Yeah, Brian, I knew that if I wanted, because I wanted initially I wanted to put an AC Comics cover, but FemForce. But then I was like, oh God, I'm going to spend another 2 hours trying to figure out which one to choose, So I was like, I'll start.
If you went with the Star Friends, the what was why can't I think of his name? Paul. Why can't I think of his name? He did the Kung Fu series in the 70s.
Are you
Paul?
You talking about an artist or TV
artist? Paul
Gulacy?
Gulacy, yeah. I have the Star Femmes cover by Paul Gulacy. I think it's from the same issue, but I think one of his best pieces ever. It's but this one's really great. I talked to Bill. This was basically a drawing, pencil drawing that he had gotten from Mike for something. It wasn't for this story, and he basically just used the figure, and everything else is done by Bill Black.
Right.
He just loved the figure and like, oh, I'm going to have to use this, and so he used this in the story.
Yeah, and credit to him that he credited Vosberg.
Oh yeah, no, I've known Bill for 30 years. I've been buying artwork from because he posts stuff on there, and so I always liked his FemForce. That's a bunch of women, but the art was really good. He'd get people. I mean, he got Mike Kaluta, a whole bunch of artists that just started out. Mike Bear, a lot of ones have gone on to. George Perez did a cover for him. So a lot of people that Mike Kaluta had already been in the business, but a lot of artists started out at AC Comics and then went on to Marvel and DC. Right. And they're still publishing.
I know. That's the shocking thing.
They're not, they're doing it their own way, but they're still doing. Bill has retired, but they're still publishing it.
I know. It's shocking, honestly, with the way that the market has been, for the last 30 years. It's stunning that they can still.
They sell directly to the fans and through eBay, and it's worked for them for.
It works, yeah. Whatever works.
Years, yeah.
Amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. I give props to them. A lot of respect for that, because any other way, I don't think it would have worked. But they make it work. That's what's amazing, So yeah, absolutely big props to them. Okay, let's move on to the next one, and for that we have this right here. Check it out.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Bill Everett fan, and I ended up getting this from my publisher Dan Herman. He'd had it for years, and it's hard to tell in the picture, but the background, all the little white dots are basically once he inked it, he went over it with a razor blade.
Yeah, that's razor blade technique. Yeah. That's right.
Well, I've been wanting Everett Submariner, and basically he's in every panel, and a really great shot at the end. So
yeah, it's gorgeous. And by any chance, has Mark Levy ever contacted you to try to get this from you?
Nope. In fact, I don't think I've had anybody ask.
Interesting. Okay.
And I wouldn't, because it'd be way too hard to replace.
Oh man, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, not only it's from the 50th issue, it's Everett inking himself, and like literally, it's hard to get a better content quality page. I mean, it's only 4 panels. He's in every single one. I mean, yeah, this is just some great images. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it would be very risky of you, Brian, to part with this if you intended on getting back something of equal or better quality later on.
I mean, hey, I'd love to have something, from the Tales. It was a twice up, but
that's different though. Yeah,
those are even harder to get.
Sure. Yeah, fantastic stuff. And I guess your mom must have loved this when she was around.
She did, and in fact, one of the pieces I had in my collection, which was Submariner #1, which was recreated by John Buscema. When I won it, it was framed and matted, and so I basically told her, "Well, I'm loaning it to you from the Peck Museum," and hung it up in her living room. So every time I went over to visit her on the weekends, I got to see it. So that piece I did, since it was framed and I have limited wall space, I decided to just let her, have it to hang in her house.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. Very good of you. Good son that you are, Brian. Yeah, fantastic piece. Love it. Happy to show it. And okay, let us continue with this show and tell and go on to the next piece. And the next piece, I'm not even sure what it is. Let me check it. I think I know what it is. That's whatever it is, it's going to be good. Let's see. Check it out. Okay, that's what I thought. Yes, Kaluta Shadow with.
Yeah, I love Mike's shadow work. Unfortunately, I don't own anything from the original DC series.
Yeah.
But this one is a very interesting combination. I mean, Russ, very kind of strong inking style. But when I saw it, it was a perfect piece. He's laughing, and I love the word balloons, how they're done, the close up, and then the villain and him, sweating in the first panel. So yeah, it's a great graphic novel. Yeah. But if you're familiar with Mike's stuff, it looks so different because Russ is inking, which I think is a good thing because Russ is a great inker.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a great combination. I always found, and this page is just outstanding, Brian. Holy shit! The fine, soft line work on the faces.
Yeah, it's the best panel page. There's a couple of splash pages are really good, but I think this is the best panel page. It kind of encompasses everything.
Oh my gosh! Great! You got these two fantastic bookend panels that have fantastic images of the shadow. I mean, that's good enough, right? Like, and like you said, I love the drippy balloons they put on for his speech. Yeah. Oh, so good! What a great touch! What a great!
This is one you had to have the balloons. It just wouldn't be the same without it.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. The original DC pages, says Lee, would also have rights and art on them. Well, what do you mean? He inked Kaluta on an issue, I think, or something like that?
I believe they did collaborate.
They collaborated, yeah. But yeah, beautiful piece right here. And it's a great segue because from that page, it's going to take us to right perfectly into this next beautiful and related page by a much more, well, not so modern anymore, but still what I feel is modern master, unsung hero that we talked about earlier. Check this one out.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Holy crap.
Barreto's shadow is one of my favorite. In fact, I specifically hunt for ones that have some really strong inking and lights and darks. I've got a bunch of this. This is a great example for panel pages, but I also got some nice splashes, and this is him inking himself, which I think he did perfectly. I wish the series would have run longer. Yeah. And if anybody who hasn't read this, please pick it up. I wish DC would collect
it. Yeah,
collect it. And there's another guy, Rod, and I can't think of the artist's name, who took over after him. I wish Barreto would have gone all the way through, but at that time, DC was having him do a whole bunch of different things. He was doing lots of covers for DC.
Yeah. Fantastic, man. I mean, this series, like you mentioned earlier, man, it's to me, as much as I really enjoyed it, like you, Brian, I enjoyed his, Titans run, but when he did this, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah.
I was like blown away. I was like, oh my God, this is Eduardo Barreto. Like, he really stepped up his game with this series,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I picked up one of the covers last year with him, and it was really good. It got a great, and it's got the shadow with the ring and the whole 9 yards. So I love Teen Titans, but the art and the shadow, I think, is pinnacle stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's definitely his peak career stuff right there. Amazing. All right. Excellent. Tom says, I read this so long ago. Time to reread. Yeah, and that's the thing, Brian. I agree with you. Like, I remember it coming out, and I was buying so many titles at the time. I couldn't collect everything that I wanted to. I think I was peaking at like 80 titles a month. And so I couldn't, and I still wanted more, but I couldn't afford more. And that was one of the titles. I was like, I love the art so much, but I was like, I don't know. I was still, there's still more superheroes that I'd rather have than the Shadow. And that's why it didn't make the cut. But, years later, I'd be like, I was out of comics other than, in terms of collecting, it was completely out of it. But, I'm interested in reading stuff that I never read back in the day. And that's one of the titles I was like, okay, let me get a collection of like the Shadow Strikes, because I want to read that finally. And like you say, like, I don't even know if they ever tried putting it together, right? Like, I don't even think back in the day, in the 90s, I don't think they bothered trying.
I love the pulp. So I was always, if there was a Shadow one that came out, and back to talking about props, I own a screen used Shadow Ring.
A what?
I have a screen used Shadow.
Screen used Shadow Ring, really?
Yeah, I mean, not one that Alex Baldwin, but a bunch of the characters wore it through the, because they were Shadow agents. So I've got one of the Shadow agent ones. So yeah, I mean, pulp ones, the Phantom, the Shadow, Flash Gordon, those 40s serials. That's the type of stuff I like. So that's why I was also, big into the Rocketeer and
right.
So all that type of stuff really gets me, and they said the Shadow especially.
Right. Yeah. You're into that pulp era, right? The 30s and 40s, right? Yeah, that whole aesthetic of the 30s and 40s. Yeah. Totally get it. Okay, yeah, fantastic stuff. Let us keep it rolling, folks. We're in our last hour, and we've got
the Green Hornet, yes.
Sorry?
And the Green. Somebody said Green Hornet, yes. I love the 90s now Green Hornet series as well.
Stanley, I chose by spending 15 hours plus, more than I did for Khalil. That's how I did it. And that's how you see me make mistakes with the information, because I'm half asleep, blurry-eyed. Okay. Tom, just really quickly asking you, Brian, are you going, he's assuming you're going to OAX next year, if you can?
Oh, yeah. The last 2 years, I loved it. And, I'll definitely go back. And
Peter's asking, Doc Savage too? Are you into Doc Savage?
I do. I will say that I really didn't read as much of the comics, but the Doc Savage, same type of thing.
John Buscema did some Doc Savage.
Oh yeah, no, that stuff. But like some of the other ones, I didn't. No, there's a couple. There's a great Doc Savage splash with all his all his supporting cast that somebody has that I'd love to own.
Okay, let's see. All right, so let's get back into this, everybody. Let's continue and see what we got next in tonight's show and tell. Check it out.
Oh yeah. Gene Colan, I just in fact at OAX picked up a great Dracula page by Gene and Tom.
Okay.
And with this issue, when Gene penciled everything and he sent the artwork to Tom, it got lost in the mail. Luckily, Gene had made copies because he sent it to the writer editor to, okay. And Tom basically inked from copies. So there's another page out there of Tom's inks. I've seen a couple of pages, pencil pages from this issue, and I've seen at least one that he's inked. So I would love to find the inked page, but having a pencil only Dracula, you can't beat.
I would love to have this page because it's pencils only, Brian. And I am with you. Like, typically, I do prefer to just have the finished inked page. But because, Gene was so different from everybody else with the way he painted with pencil. I would love to make an exception. I would this is, to me, I adore this. I would love to have
and it's got all the elements you want from
exactly.
a Dracula page.
Exactly. It's oh my gosh, it's just absolutely stunning to me. And oh god, yeah, I love that this thing exists uninked. Oh my gosh, so beautiful, so beautiful. Yeah, and
I have a few pages that were uninked. I've got another Cockrum Red Sonja cover that I have.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
I've still been trying to find somebody to do a blue line of it because Dave is the one who inked it. So I'd like to see what it's inked, but I never ink over originals. I prefer blue lines.
Right. Great panel pages. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Just killer, literally, says Dracula. They replaced the bat with ha-ha-has. Oh, did they? I didn't notice that. Oh, yeah. In the second panel, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yes, I love little tidbits like that we see changed and that you wouldn't otherwise know if we weren't into the original art. That's fantastic. But yeah, fantastic. Would love that. That would be my one and done example. Beautiful, Brian. Okay, let us go to the next piece. And coincidentally, the theme goes well together. Check this one out, everybody.
Guys, I'm a huge Vampirella fan, but with the caveat, I prefer the original Warren comics. Nothing against Nick. Once Harris took over, they killed off all the major characters, and she became a good girl or a bad girl. And unfortunately, it's continued. Originally, it was a gothic horror done in black and white, and I never read them originally. I picked them up in probably 79. I'd go back to visit family, or 80, and there was this one comic shop, which was also a head shop.
Yeah.
And they had, kind of magazines and back issues of Vampirella. So I basically, when I found it, I just started buying it all because not just the Vampirella stories, all the other horror gothic stories, and a lot of them done by Spanish artists. So I love the series, and I've got one other cover from the series which didn't have Vampirella by San Julian, but this one by Enrique, I loved. Like to get some earlier ones, but they're kind of priced out right now. But
like anything else in the hobby, Brian, they've all gone much higher than they used to be, right?
Yeah. So unfortunately, the image I have doesn't do the art justice. As you can see, with it printed, you get more detail, but this is just the image I have. It's it's framed, so I can't really do anything. Sure. But I love the image. It's
and trust me, Brian. Even with the quality they made, it's it believe me, it's more than good enough for people to imagine what it must look like in person, you know.
And then I'd also reached out to Enrique, and he's done a couple of commissions for me, including a Vampirella and then a female Rocketeer.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So he's still alive. I don't know if he's still.
Yeah, he's still around. Yeah, he's still around. I don't know if he's still.
And Julian is the one who did the other covers from Vampirella, but
right.
Yeah. So this is a really great example by him.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love that devil in the back. I mean, he's so scary. He's so terrifying, man. That head is like so crazy. I love that. Yeah, really, really fantastic. Yeah. So great piece. Okay. Keep it rolling, everybody. FYI, we've got a total of about 43 minutes to go. And we've got technically 10 pieces to go.
I think you like it.
But it's technically more than that. I don't know why. I can't explain why, but let's just keep it rolling. And yeah, we'll keep it rolling and we'll make it. We'll make it. Yeah. So this next one, sort of continuing off of that FF 286 page earlier. I believe this is what this is. Let's check it out. Good memories for me. Yes, this is the one.
Oh, yeah. So the first meeting of Scott and Jean after she comes back from being in the Bay. I've got this one and the next page, but this is the nicest. Yeah. Funny story with getting this page. I was at San Diego. I can't remember what year. I was at one. I think I was down in the illustrators section, and a friend of mine comes up and says, "Oh, I saw these two great pages. Describe them." I knew exactly what they were, and they're down at the other end. I said, "Where?" He was kind of vague. So I go down and I looked, and I could not find it. And you know how long San Diego the hall is.
Yeah.
Walked one down, then I walked back, finally found my friend, and I dragged him to the other end saying, "Show me." And it ended up being at Steve Wyatt's booth. I mean, I'd known Steve for years. Yeah. And finally he pointed out, and so I was able to acquire him, but it was like, oh yeah, somewhere down there, the 500s, and that was way too vague. So yeah. Anyways, I was able to pick both of those up, and so
yeah, fantastic. I mean, wow, first issue, the great, not just a page from the first issue, but it's such a key moment, and especially for you and being a Jean Grey collector, so I'm a Jean Grey fan, so for me, I just feel like this is fantastic. But as a guy who decided to collect Jean Grey art, it's even more, I just feel it's just
so get this. I found out about this a few years ago. This is the second time Guice and Layton drew the first issue. I mean, this thing's known for having patches because what happened was when they changed the flashback to, change a few things in 286, this issue was always being written. So when the changes that Chris Claremont put in, they had to change a couple of panels. Well, that's one thing, but the entire issue had been drawn already. And was it the editor, Shooter, he told him to rewrite it, to redraw it. And I've been trying to get pages from the original. They've got maybe 3/4. I've seen the pages, and the second time it's much more dramatic. They changed her clothes. She wasn't as, in a sexy dress in this page. There's a few other things. I mean, some of the panels are similar, but some of them are different. But the final one was an improvement. But I never knew until like maybe a year or two ago that the whole first issue had been drawn already. And of course, this goes along with the 7 rejected covers that were done for X Factor #1.
Right.
Or I should say 8, because the one that was published was originally penciled and inked by Walt Simonson.
Oh, that's right.
But the one that was one drawn, but the one published, Joe Rubinstein light boxed a scan of Walt's final one, and it was just some stupid, idea from Shooter. It looked almost exactly the same, but having him go through another one, Walt still owns the original one of that.
Yeah.
And the one that went up in auction about 10 years ago, it was credited to him, Walt, and it went for like 25 grand. Problem is that Walt never touched it, and it's just basically a light box. Oh. So whoever got it paid a lot, and I hope they enjoy it, but Walt never touched it.
Inked by who, though?
Joe Rubinstein.
Oh, ooh.
And he did a great job. It's just Shooter, being a prick, decided to change it anyways. So the whole first issue of X Factor has a really convoluted story.
Background,
to the interiors. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I gotta say though, I don't know that I've seen, because you have several. So I've seen, the covers, but I don't know that I've ever seen a single of the interior unpublished pages.
A collector has it.
And, he has it all together?
Well, 3/4 of it. He doesn't have the whole thing, but I've been trying to work out a deal. So may eventually, if I do get it, I will post it on Comic Art Fans.
Oh, good. Okay, let's keep this going with a related couple of pieces here, folks. And by related, I mean Butch is involved, and so is the title.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, X Factor, Prisoner of Love. I love the first page. It really shows how good of an artist Butch is when it comes to drawing faces. He's really does a great job. And if you notice in the second page, they removed the whip.
Yes, exactly. Look, check it out, everybody.
I had a few other pages from the issue, and I loved them. The problem is that Butch would ink himself. He went and decided to grab a marker, and parts of the inking had turned brown. And I'm a bit of a snob. Yeah, I just don't like the faded inks or the markers. Like,
yeah, me too. I mean, a lot of people feel that way, Brian.
It's not 98, I think, or 97. I went down to Comic-Con with my father, and I saw a whole bunch of Death of Captain Marvel pages for sale. $250 each.
Wow.
But they had so much of the faded markers even then that I skipped them.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Tony?
I love the contrast between inks and paper, but the ones that fade, I bought a couple of pieces, and some of the ones, there'll be minor ones. I've never gotten them re-inked, but then I just ended up trading or selling them just because of that. But no, these two pages I kept because the faces on one and then the woman on the other, and especially having the whip removed when it was published. It was just kind of silly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the whole story is she's basically controlling and dominating him. Right. So I don't think the whip would have changed the story one bit.
Exactly. It's just that typical Marvel and DC overly cautious. Oh my God, what are the parents going to say if they see their kids reading this or whatever? It's that kind of nonsensical decision making, whatever. They couldn't figure out that, okay, in the 80s, granted, there still were kids at comic shops, but it was still primarily 17 to old age kind of.
You still a lot of younger ones reading them. They hadn't really changed until the 90s.
Yeah. We don't have time, Stanley. If you can answer this in one sentence, yes or no, Brian, he just says, do you have a plan for basically an exit strategy to sell your collection?
No, I have a friend that, probably would sell the stuff.
On your behalf.
There's certain things, and I've told people this because I've gotten crazy offers. The How to Draw book is going to the Library of Congress.
Wow, nice, man. Wow, congratulations.
If they accept it, which I think they would. A lot of people have asked, and I said, they've wanted me to sell the Nova cover. I said, no, that's part of the book. And I've gotten crazy offers on the whole book, but I said, nope, it's in my top 5. Yeah. And in fact, I just went and shared it at the San Francisco Comic Art show. They let me have a table. I basically brought it and let people come to look at it. I love sharing it with artists because it's great to see their reactions. A lot of them are like, yeah. Oh, that's what he meant now that I'm in the business 25 years.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. We were all young once, and that book was so, especially those of us, not only those of us who became artists in the business, obviously, but those of us who wanted to, even though we never did.
I thought I could draw, then I found out I don't have the patience or the skill.
Right, me too. Exactly.
I think the book made me appreciate, maybe even, after I got that first piece, really started to collect.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Those who can't do collect.
Some of us were young exactly once. What's up, Matt? What's happening? Ruben was 17, 18 right away, right out of the womb. But okay, time is tight, guys. Time is tight. We got to keep it rolling. And let's go to the next piece. Alberto, I know you love to text people while the show is on. Feel free to text James and let him know that from here till almost the end, it's mutant time, X-Men time, okay? So here we go. Next piece is this lovely wraparound cover.
Oh yeah. So Andy was selling it through Spider Web Art Gallery, and I purchased it, and they shipped it to me. One of the worst packaging I ever had.
Oh no!
And in glass. I come home, it's leaning up against my door because of the useless parcel service.
Oh gosh.
I picked it up, all I heard was glass.
Oh no.
Luckily the impact was on the mat, and when I called Jean at the Spiderweb, she wasn't there, but I left a message that the FCC would not allow to be broadcast. But she called me back and offered to have it reframed, which I was going to do anyways, which was great. And then with the interiors, through Spencer, I bought Andy's part and Matt's part, and I got everything but 3 pages.
Wow.
And I'm asking Spencer what happened, and Andy says, I never sold any of my pages, and Matt said the same thing. Fast forward 6 years later, Spencer emails. He said, give me a call. So I called him. I said, well, I've got some great news for you. We got the last 3 pages. And what had happened is at the Hubert School of Art, Andy and his brother had been teaching there for years. And in the basement, they had their desks. Well, they decided to renovate the basement. And I guess, yeah, Andy's desk was all rusted out, and they said, just throw it away. Luckily, they had to break it down, and in the drawers, there was an orange envelope and 50 X-Men covers.
Oh my God.
In the envelope were the 3 pages I was missing.
Oh my God.
Why the 3 of them in there, and they're random pages. They're not like in a row or anything.
Yeah.
And Andy said, "Hey, I remember I sold the pages through you to somebody."
Yeah.
And so Spencer reached out to me, and I was able to complete the book.
Wow. Unbelievable. What a great, crazy, but great story.
And if you notice, looking at the artwork, the minister is higher up. They statted him and put the. I still have the stat, and I still have the at last, but I decided to take that off because I wanted to see the original art. So, and it's hanging up right next to me now.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, crazy story for sure, Rick. Holy crap. And Mark is asking, did you buy the covers too?
I never knew what covers they were, but this was a time when Andy and Adam and his father were not selling, and I happened to. Andy was selling something through Spencer, not a lot, like one or two, and I asked Spencer, "Could you reach out? Would he sell it?" It cost me a fortune for both of them, and he says, "Hey, I know Matt, well, he can sell those," and you know, and Spencer, he just a great guy. So
yeah, I will say, Spencer over the years, he had a knack of doing that. Like when he knew that people were looking for things, he would remember.
Yes,
he would remember, and he would like reach out if he found them. Like, hey, remember that thing you asked me about? I think I have some. Yeah. So he's really good.
And then the piece you just showed in the Andy art book that he did through Kickstarter, on the inside cover of the dust jacket, they printed the published one on the outside, and the original art is published on the inside.
Oh.
So I gave them real nice scans, so they're going to get me a couple of dust jackets extras that I can just put in my portfolio.
Oh, that's really nice. Fantastic. Okay. I'm getting nervous because time's a wasting. So let's jump into the next piece, everybody. And it is another X-Men piece. Really, really cool. Related to what we just saw. Check this one out.
Oh, yeah. That was in the same issue. And I picked that up in San Diego. Some guy was selling toys, and he was from Europe. He had this one and one of the other triplicate painted cards from that same Marvel trading card series. But yeah, and I've got that one up on my other wall right now.
Okay. Wow. And by the way, Brian, what's this is all one board, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What are the dimensions approximately?
I don't know, maybe 8 by 15 or 16.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty standard card art size, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and if you look, except for the one center one, a one on the side, the left side and the back, and then the one in the back right. Those were, and then also her standing by herself, kind of to the right. All those were poses taken from comic books.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I mean, the wedding one, I don't think was, but most of the other ones were. And the one in the upper right where he's holding Cable, I used to own the page that it was from.
Okay. And at the top center, we see the image we saw earlier tonight from FF 286.
Yeah, so I do have that one. But yeah, a lot of them, he took the poses from comics, which I think is great.
No, for sure. Yeah, because that's what makes it memorable, because it's like flashback memories for you,
And then years later, I found I was able to acquire the pencil drawing to it too.
Oh, cool! Very nice, awesome. All right, great piece. Yeah, I love to see that one. All right, so from there we go to the next piece, and it is we're keeping the theme going, guys, with X-Men. Check this next one out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I picked this up from Cam Smith. Interesting, big contrast between him and Matt Ryan, who did the X-Men wedding one. So yeah, I picked this one up, and I had a few pages from the interiors. In fact, I got the last one where it's Onslaught across her head, and so yeah, and I ended up selling some of the pages away. Now I think I should have held on to them. Now everybody wants them because it's the first appearance of Onslaught.
Right.
And you could technically say this cover is a first, even though it's his big hand is the first appearance. But I love the hair and the inking, and it's a great image.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I like that slick inking by Cam Smith, actually. I gotta say.
Yeah, he's really got but big difference between him and Matt Ryan inking over Andy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, good and different. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that it's two sort of completely different approaches to inking, but they both look good. Yeah. But you kind of just get just two different looks, but they're both enjoyable. So yeah. Very, very nice. Okay, very cool. Now we're going to go, sticking again, of course, with the mutants, but I believe we're going back into the past a little bit more nostalgic for us, Brian, and for, I guess, most of the guys in the chat. Let us check out what page we got here.
Oh, yeah. So, from 98, I love all the panels, especially the last one. I tried to get the next page where Jack and Stan are standing there, and they said they never did that while we were on the book.
Yeah.
Oh, and for you Wolverine fans, that is the first appearance of Logan without his mask.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I included that right below the page issue numbers, Brian.
Right. Yeah. But get this, the panel had been cut out and replaced by this one.
Oh, really?
I always wondered, what did he look like before this?
Oh, so but what do you think then? What do you think was there before the replacement?
It's hard to tell. I mean, maybe Dave didn't draw him with the Widow's Peak. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Might have been something they saw and, can you try a little bit different look? I don't know. I asked Claremont once and he doesn't remember.
Okay. I mean, I think just using sort of common sense, I would think it probably still, Logan, but maybe, like you say, maybe just he didn't like, because it's his first time showing his face. Maybe it's just they didn't like the way he drew his face. That's all, Yeah. It could be something as simple as that. So, by the way, welcome tonight, B&G, my friend Steve. That's big. First Logan without mask. Yeah, exactly. Really, really key, actually. This is a banger indeed. Six Slayer Station.
Yeah, but it's the first Logan, not the first Wolverine.
No, exactly. Don't worry, Brian. I don't think a single person here is unaware of Hulk 181 and 180. Yeah, that's great. And from there, we're gonna go a little bit more, a few years more into the future from where we just left off, and to something that Brian you mentioned earlier, something you really loved, and I know you've for years have loved this. So I was like, there's no way I'm not including this into the show tonight. Check it out, everyone.
Oh yeah, that's the one I mentioned that Wyatt framed. Yeah. So yeah, I got that one at San Diego. Can't remember exactly what year, but it was on I term Albert's Wall of Drool. Most of the pieces up there, it's like out of my price range, but I was able to make a deal with Albert and buy this one. It's just fantastic. It's got all the characters on it and what they are in the story, and then such a great Kitty and Colossus thing. And I love swashbuckling. So they got the big pirate, boots on.
Yeah. That's what I call swashbuckling boots, basically.
And this is an issue I would love to get pages from. I had one once, but I had to trade it away, and I kicked myself. and these pages almost never show up. Everybody loves this story.
Yeah.
This is along with the Daredevil 47. This is one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, Brian, because when I first read it, for me, this was a recent-ish back issue for me. And I started collecting X-Men, and so I started going backwards, figuring, okay, let me go back to like 150 at least. Let me start with 150. And so when I was finding them all at the comic shop, I was like, because in those days I was all about superheroes. I need my superheroes to be serious. And so when I saw this issue, I was like, oh, come on. What is this fairy tale thing? All joking around and stuff, like X-Men all as swashbuckling pirates. Oh, this is so stupid. And it wasn't until many years later that I had to go back, with a little bit more maturity and then finally enjoy it for what it was meant to be, I wasn't a fan initially.
Yeah, I think this came out in 81 or 80. Oh, yeah, 81. So let's see. I was 13. So it was the perfect, age for reading. I was reading it, from, when the issues come. I got this book off the shelf.
Right.
So, this was at my local comic shop. I got this one. So yeah, it was, really hit me. So
yeah, and it hit you positively right away, right as soon as you
read it. Oh yeah. It was just it's one of those things. Like and then, the Cockrum's really his second run. It's got some great stories in it with Storm and Doom, and then ones with Nightcrawler. Those were just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff. Good memories too.
Oh yeah,
good memories. Yeah, very, very awesome.
Yeah, I showed it to somebody else who was also a big collector of that issue, and he says, "I'll buy it from you." Offers me twice what I paid, and I said, "No, I know." As I said, "This is." I had to trade this other one away. No, this one is. If I don't get another page from the issue, I can be satisfied with just a splash.
Right. That's a good way to look at it, for sure. Yeah. All right. From there, we're going to jump forward to the more modern era. One of my favorite all-time, on this piece, I believe he's just the inker, but whatever. It's all about him anyways. Artists. Check this out, everyone. This one. Oh, God, I love this. Check it out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ron Garney had that page forever. I think Spencer was, and I was able to get that one. One of the few times I enjoyed Bill inking other artists.
Oh, you're one of those people who typically doesn't like to have him inking because it overpowers the artist.
Yeah, like I have over 100 pieces of John Buscema. I do not own one by Bill. I love Bill's artwork.
Yeah.
But he's so overpowering. John is completely lost, and I'm just not interested. I'm not as familiar with Ron Garney, so maybe that's something. But I just love this one, and I was finally able to buy it from Ron years ago.
Oh, it was Ron. It was Ron who still had it.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, then he started selling through Spencer, and I was able to acquire it.
Yeah. What I was saying, like, so for me, I like Garney, but I just adore Sienkiewicz. So for me, I love that. And that's what I was saying before I popped it on screen. I was saying, I love in this case that he's just the inker, but I just love his work so much that it's just beautiful.
I mean, when he inks himself, that's good. But when it's with an artist that I know really well, that's where it kind of turns me off. But
I get it. I totally get it. Yeah. But fantastic, really, really beautiful stuff either way. And great. That leads us into this one because, as I mentioned, This next one is a Sienkiewicz piece, and this time he's inking himself. And I love, you guys, I've told you guys in the past many times, I love pages with romantic scenes. Don't know why I never got into collecting romance art. Maybe because it's kind of cheesy looking back in the 70s. But this is just fantastic. I love this one. Check this one out, everybody.
So that one's from the same magazine as the other one.
Yeah, they're back to back, by the way, Brian. I think back to back pages in the book.
So I don't know if anybody remembers Artwork World from back in the day.
Yeah,
back in the 90s.
Philip.
Yes, Philip. Now he's still kind of selling through Comic Art Fans, but he had his own website. So there was this page and a Bob Layton costume design for X Factor. It wasn't ones they went with, but it was kind of a mixture of the original and kind of a newer one. And I had both of those pieces to pick from. I was I was just ending college. So I was a poor college student. So I had this one and the design to pick from.
Okay.
I only had enough money for one, so I bought this one. And then about 6-7 years later, the other one by Layton pops up on eBay, and I'm able to get it. But when I bought this one, after I had enough money, I went back to Philip, and he had already sold the Layton one. But no, I absolutely love. I'm a hopeless romantic, and when this was up, I had to grab it.
Oh, I can't. I don't blame you, man. Oh, I love that. Especially Gene's pose and yeah, just the body language.
Very simple, not overdone or anything like that.
Yeah, it's oh God, I love it. I love it. So fantastic, man, fantastic. Yeah, let's get that one out of the way. Okay, guys, there's 12 minutes left. Although technically, like I said, I'd like to get a few minutes alone to talk to Brian.
We can go a few minutes, so it's not like a hard.
A few extra just in case. Okay, that's cool. But so it's good timing. I think we made it in perfect timing, Brian. So we have hit the last piece, as some of you guys sometimes call it, the showstopper of the episode, everybody. And for that, Brian already knew it. Well, he doesn't know what I had selected, but he kind of guessed earlier on this evening that I'd be showing this. And this is the first time ever, for reasons you're about to see, that the final piece is actually, at least for me, I turned it into 5 different slides because I needed to show a little bit more than just one final piece. So let's start this off and have Brian, please talk to us about this. Feel free to tell us the story behind it, whatever you want to do, and I'll cycle through these images. All right, check this one out, everybody.
Yeah, I kind of figured this would come up. So it was San Diego 2014, going down to Albert's booth, looking at his wall of drool. And myself and I forget the other collector, is a French collector. We were there, and Albert says, "Oh, you guys want to see something really neat?" Sure. So he pulls out this kind of box that only has 3 sides to it. And on it is written, "How to Draw the Marvel Way." And so it was the one that I guess they shipped the artwork back, but 3 of the sides have been cut away. So then he had a stack of all the artwork, none of them in Mylars, just kind of there. And then we sat and flipped through it. And then I told him, I said, "Well, I'm interested in this." And then I flipped through it again. So unfortunately, I don't have a scan up on my site, but this was done in 78 when you did graphic design. It's like they do it up as like a 2-page spread then they print it and they'll bind it and cut it up anyways. So basically there were like 16 by 20, 60 or 80 sheets because there's 160 pages.
Right.
And looking through the 80 sheets, 60 of them had original art. And so I was able to do a deal with Albert, put some money down, and then we were trying to figure out, because he's on the East Coast, I'm on the West, how to finish the deal up. And he wanted cash, which made it tough. First it was going to be Baltimore, but he didn't want to be going all the way back, so we ended up doing it in LA. So I drove down to LA and was able to do a deal on this. And just for information, the two chapters they're showing here, the pencils are drawn the size of the artwork of what's being printed in the book, which was 9 by 12.
Oh, so actual size.
Yeah, the chapter 9 and chapter 10, since there's artwork underneath it, they put it on an overlay. Can you go back to some of the earlier images?
Absolutely. Start here.
Okay, so the one on the right, chapter 1, that was glued right to it because the art is not underneath it. So it was cool that he ended up doing that. Now, did you pick, what was the other ones you picked? Show me again.
I went 1 to 9, actually.
Okay, well, what you didn't show, which is, I'm surprised, because what everybody wants is the Nova cover. The Nova cover, and then all of its process shots with pencils, he drew that 11 by 17.
Okay.
I didn't think the cover, because that cover was published, so he was going to be doing something. So it's like, hey, I'll do all the artwork once and I get paid twice.
Right.
The chapter 7 that you're showing, that panel was reused in a Captain Britain page.
Oh, yeah.
One that I tried to go after, but I lost out on. But that's done the size of the book. But then there was, I don't know if anybody remember, there was a page with Spider-Man fighting Silver Surfer and its process pages. That was done 11 by 17. It was never reused in anything. He took a page from Silver Surfer 14, redrew it, but changing the poses. It wasn't a copy. He changed the poses and the camera angles. And then there was also a Captain Britain panel page with its process, which was then used in a Captain Britain book. But those 12 pages were done 11 by 17 and then statted down. And on the books, there's like little, stats of them. But when it came to finishing it, they would strip in the negative. But all those are 11 by 17. Everything else is done the size of the book. And then the prelim cover, that was part of the whole book. The published cover, I found out that Albert lost out to somebody else, which is Dave Mandel. And Dave was nice enough to give me nice high-res scans. And so, in fact, in my book, when portfolio, when I share it, I have a printout done on Bristol, and 8 out of 10 people would think it's the original.
Oh, cool.
And so I gave him high-res scans of Nova and some of the other stuff that he wanted. So it was a nice little trade. Oh. And I don't own the back cover. Somebody in Comic Art Fans does, and I'm trying to get it out of them. But
well, at least you know where it is and who has it.
Interiors for me was the most important, and having a rejected cover, which was really close to the published, is fine for me.
Right. Yeah. At least you still have a cover.
No, I put a down payment and I paid off Albert it was November, because he came to one of the Heritage auctions So I was able to drive down and just do the deal. And then from there, it was luckily down the street, there was a photography place that had 16 by 20 Mylars. So he didn't have any of them in Mylars. That was the only thing. But they were I think he must have probably bought them from 2001, and everything was in good condition. They all have tissue paper overlays.
Oh, okay, nice.
Everything's protected. So
that's good, especially for pencil pieces, So
the pencils, and there was some of the balloons that had a little discolor, but they were the ones either mounted on overlays or not on the artwork, which I thought was cool. Is they didn't want to mount the balloons on the artwork, the pencils, which was cool. The ones that they cut out and the balloon wasn't going to be over it, they mounted it on it. So it made for the original art collector, they were thinking about it, 40 years before. So,
yeah.
Yes, it's one of my top 5 pieces. I consider it one piece.
Right.
Everybody says, "Oh, Nova cover you can sell." No, it's all one piece.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's why I'm saying it's typically I'm showing single pieces here on these show and tell. Obviously, this is an entire book, and I'm like, yeah, I can't show the whole book. Obviously, I'd love to. There's no time for that. But I knew that I couldn't just show. Because I originally was just going to show one representative piece, and I was thinking for my own nostalgic purposes, it was coming down to either the Thor chapter splash or the Submariner chapter splash. But then I was like, it's a whole book of just it means so much to me. It means so much to a lot of people. I got to show at least a handful of pieces from the book,
I haven't scanned the whole book, so we really couldn't show you the whole book. But if anybody comes to a comic book show in the Bay Area, I will bring the book to the show. It's what I did with the San Francisco Comic Art one. Most times, if there's an artist that I know that wants to see it, I'll bring it and usually share it after the show. So I won't bring it. No, I can't bring it on a plane. Inside the case that I have it, it's like 50 pounds.
Yeah, there you go.
And they wouldn't let me put it in the overhead bin. I don't think I could put it in the overhead bin. It's too heavy.
Tim, everybody, I do not have the thumbnail ready because Tim just gave me photos, and I just took my photo, did my photo shoot for the thumbnail for next week. Today, didn't have time to get it ready for previewing it to you tonight. But please don't forget next week, Tim Finney in Japan from the land of the rising sun will be my guest for the 71st episode of Comic Art Show and Tell. So have a good one. Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate you being here.
Well, one last question.
No, I'm not going to hang up yet. It looked like Tim was leaving, so I just wanted to say bye to him. But go ahead, Brian.
I'm still chasing stuff, but probably the piece is I want something from Daredevil 47. That's probably top of my list right now. Most things I've gotten examples of artists that I like. But that's probably my big thing for chasing is any page from Daredevil 47.
Look who's here tonight, Brian. Look who just popped in.
Hey!
Speak of the devil. We talked about you, Mark. We talked about you.
I was trying to think. I think after I picked up the How to Draw book, I think he was at can't think of Ken Collector's name now, down in LA. Mancuda.
Mancuda, okay.
There was a big get together, and I think Mark was there when I got to show off the book. Because I picked it up, and then Mancuda was having it. I said, well, I can bring over the How to Draw. They, oh, yeah, sure. So.
Yes, Carl. It is. It's a quick one tonight because Brian's got places to be, places to go. So it's a quickie, a 3-hour quickie. Who would ever think that a 3-hour live stream would be quick? But on my channel, that's really quick.
And It was a lot of fun to share my collection with everybody.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Brian. Once again, I really do appreciate you agreeing to do this. I'm glad that you could do it. And look, for having a hard stop, I think it, like Kavi said, an efficient 3 hours. I think we did it really, really well. I did feel a little rushed from time to time, so it's not as relaxing for me because I was so nervous and I really wanted to do good by you and stay by my word that we would finish on time. But yeah, fantastic. I thought it was a great time. So, I think everybody enjoyed it. We saw a ton of great art, much more than we normally do. So that's really great too, all the art was shown so you can catch what you missed, right? Show goes on forever and ever. Typically, right? Ruben can still stay with us. I'm not going to stick around. This is his show. So if it's his show, we close the show out at the same time. And I got to get to work. I got to spend another hour and a half to 2 hours chopping the episode up now into chapters to make it easier for the rewind viewers to watch. So very welcome, Peter. Thank you so much. What else we got? Right. Call someone else in, Ruben. See what I mean, Brian? These guys, they'll stick around as long as I stay. They'll stick around for 5 hours. No problem. Agree. There you go, Peter. Very efficient. Time for the second half of the show. You see? Next guest. Next. Fantastic show and tell. Thank you, Rick. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. You do a recap, I'm sure. Outstanding show, says Sean. Thanks for sharing the art. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do part 2 to make Ruben work a lot more. No, but that's it. Thank you again, everybody. Of course, you, especially Brian. Thank you so much, man. This was really a lot of fun. And everybody, yes, please don't forget Tim Finney, literally live from Japan. I don't know if that's further or closer to us than Singapore. I think Singapore with Richard O. That was my show and tell that I did live with a guest who was that far away. So I don't know if Singapore or Japan's further from North America, but this will be, the first or second furthest distance-wise that my guest will be with us. So there should be fun. Hopefully the connection and audio is better than Richard's was. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. And you can start the art sale, right? Bye, Brian and Ruben. Great show. Thank you, S. Thanks for showing up again. 2 weeks in a row, man. Dig it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hashtag for the giveaway. There is none. Later, guys. See you, everybody. We got bills. Yes, and don't forget Nikki B on Friday. Can you offer up the Matt Kelly art again? No, I can't. And one of the pages, by the way, I'm in the process of potentially selling. The person's trying to sell off. He needs to sell off a piece to get enough money together to buy it. So if he can pull that off, I may be selling one of those two pieces. Make Tim stream from an aquarium, right? Same. Oh, it's the same time zone. Okay, thank you, Marcus. After seeing his art, I just can't keep collecting art anymore. Look at that, Brian crushed your dreams there, Sean.
Yeah, well, this is almost 40 years of collecting.
Yeah, exactly. What's up with the shark? I don't know. I guess Brian beat it up. I thought he was looking like he was in trouble there for a minute, but it looks like Brian won out with a little help from Namor. Let's not forget he was there. You still don't get it, I'm sure. You're very welcome, Steve. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And thank you, Lee. Appreciate you too. Great collection, Brian, of course. All right, guys. So there is no thumbnail, as I said, for next week to leave you out on. So we will say bye to you right now, like this. Brian, just stick with me for a minute, will you?
Yep. See you, everybody.
All right. Thank you. And thanks, everybody. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. And have a great week, all of you. And Nikki B's Friday, my show with Tim Finney back here Sunday at the usual day and time Sunday. And that's it. Other than that, as always and forever, go blue!